In my past life, my parents died saving Tang Zhongnan and his family. After that, I was brought from the countryside to the Tang household, where I lived for 10 years. For those 10 years, I was in love with Tang Zhongnan. Later, Uncle Tang read my diary and decided that Zhongnan should marry me. For 10 years of marriage, Tang Zhongnan greeted me with a cold face every single day. He treated me like a maid, even demanding I hand wash his underwear. Even our intimate life was on a schedule. He would only come to my room after his father had a word with him. Later, he suddenly took me and our son out to enjoy the rain, only for us to be caught in a flash flood. He abandoned me and our son at the foot of the mountain and drove up to rescue his childhood sweetheart. My son and I were swept away by the flood. After I died, my spirit drifted in the sky, watching Tang Zhongnan holding Ling Jingjin and her child. Comforting them, Ling Jingjin sobbed, "Zhongnan, I'm so sorry. If it weren't for me, your wife and child wouldn't have been swept away by the flood." But Tang Zhongnan replied with a gentle cruelty, "It's not your fault, I never loved her. If it weren't for her, I would have been with you long ago, and you and your child wouldn't have suffered. If she hadn't interfered, why would my father have forbidden me from leaving? I wouldn't have had to use taking them out as an excuse to come rescue you and your child. This is what she and her child owe you." At that moment, I could have killed that bastard Tang Zhongnan. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my diary was discovered, except this time, it was Tang Zhongnan who got hold of my diary first. He threw the diary into the brazier and warned me coldly, "By Jiaqiu, stay away from me. Don't you dare have any disgusting thoughts about me." I let out a cold laugh. Perfect. I didn't come back in this lifetime to love you anyway. 1. Tang Zhongnan only left my room after watching the diary burn to ashes. Before leaving, he even warned me, "Stop writing this disgusting stuff from now on, rein in all those fancy ideas of yours, and the Tang family might still tolerate you, otherwise, you can go back to wherever you came from." It took me a moment after he left to realize it. I had been reborn. I was reborn into a time before I married Tang Zhongnan, with my diary torn to pieces, leaving my innermost thoughts forever hidden from Uncle Tang. In this life, I will not marry Tang Zhongnan again. I took a deep breath, and the scent of Tang Zhongnan filled my very being. A wave of nausea hit me, and I immediately flung the window open to clear the air of Tang Zhongnan's scent. In my past life, I was acutely sensitive to his scent. Every time I got close to Tang Zhongnan, I would feel an instinctive, physical attraction. I couldn't help but steal a breath, as if drawing that air into my lungs was itself an intimate act. In this life, just the scent of him makes me sick with hatred. If I had a knife right now, I'd stab him without a second thought. But I know that would just ruin my life all over again. He already destroyed me once. In this life, let him have what he wants. Let him be stuck with his childhood sweetheart for good. In this life, I must become strong and not rely on the Tang family, because Uncle Tang gave a strict order that I cannot leave until I graduate from university. I have just 1 year left until graduation, and then I'll be able to leave the Tang family. Uncle Tang has been very kind to me, and I don't want to cause him too much pain. At this time in my previous life, because of my exceptional talent in physics, I had already received an invitation from the Academy of Sciences. I immediately searched through my things and, sure enough, found the invitation letter buried among a pile of books. Thankfully, I had hidden it well, otherwise Tang Zhongnan would have definitely found it just now. In my past life, I gave up the Academy of Sciences invitation for Tang Zhongnan, willingly choosing to become a homemaker and abandoning the physics I was so proud of. It just goes to show, a woman who's too love-struck never ends up well. Even if I laid my heart bare for Tang Zhongnan, his would never be mine. In my past life, my obsession forced him. In this life, my heart remains untouched. That worthless man, anyone who wants him can have him. I just need to endure 1 more month, and then I can go to the Academy of Sciences. I packed my clothes, grabbed my suitcase, and headed out the door. I was planning to stay in the school dormitory for a month. As luck would have it, I ran into Tang Zhongnan leaving with Ling Jingjin. I had intended to pretend I didn't see them, but Ling Jingjin deliberately waited for me with Tang Zhongnan. "Qiu, are you heading out?" "Zhongnan is taking me out anyway. Want a ride?" My eyes were still a bit red from crying earlier, so I didn't look up. I just refused coldly. "No need, I'll get a cab." Tang Zhongnan, however, said with a cold tone, "What are you trying to pull now? You think this little act makes you look independent? Don't tell me you want my father to see this and get the wrong idea that my family mistreats you." "By Jiaqiu, you really are a piece of work." I gritted my teeth. That bastard doesn't have a single decent thing to say. What I can't figure out is why, in this lifetime, it was Tang Zhongnan who found my diary, and not Uncle Tang. Seeing my silence, Tang Zhongnan continued, what's the matter? Hit a nerve. If it weren't for that diary, I'd never have known your filthy thoughts. I wouldn't have spent a lifetime compromising and settling. Oh. And I've already confessed to Jean. We'll be getting married soon. My future wife, the mother of my future children, will only ever be Jean. Come here and say hello. My heart gave a violent jolt. Why would Tang Zhongnan say that? Did he also get reborn? Otherwise, why would he be the one to find my diary first in this life? And then he immediately went to confess to Ling Jean, not to mention his attitude towards me, in the previous life. After the diary was discovered, he was merely annoyed with me. But now it's downright disgust. I looked up at Tang Zhongnan, his gaze threatening. By Jiaqiu, call for help. My eyes reddened further. Had he and Ling Jean died as well? Did Tang Zhongnan come back in this life to protect Ling Jean and their future child out of his overwhelming love for her? What does that make me and my child? What a colossal joke. I warned myself not to entertain such wild thoughts. Tang Zhongnan and I would never get married, let alone have children. Whether he's a reincarnator or not, in this lifetime, I want nothing to do with him. Ling Jean tugged shyly at Tang Zhongnan's sleeve and cooed, oh, don't give Qiu such a hard time. You know perfectly well how the girl feels about you, pushing her like this. Aren't you afraid she might run away from home? If your father gets angry, he'll surely make you kneel in the ancestral hall. Sure enough, Ling Jean is still as fond of sowing discord as she was in her past life. I suffered greatly at her hands in my previous life, but now, in this life, without my feelings for Tang Zhongnan, she seems utterly ridiculous to me. Tang Zhongnan shielded Ling Jean and snapped at me. What are you gaping at? Don't tell me you're still hung up on me. If you dare breathe a word of this to Dad, you're dead. Tang Zhongnan started threatening me. I shot a sidelong glance at Tang Zhongnan, unable to hide the disgust in my eyes. You've misunderstood, I said. Those letters I wrote were for someone else. Tang Zhongnan was momentarily taken aback by the disgust in my gaze, but then my words made him laugh. You're saying those letters were for someone else? By Jiaqiu, you're not only twisted in your thinking, but you're also a habitual liar. I should really let my father see this side of you, or he'll keep thinking you're as pure as the driven snow. Ling Jean stood to the side, watching me with a smile. He just had to add fuel to the fire, saying, Zhongnan, you can't really blame the girl, seeing your face day in and day out. If it were me, I'd find it hard to fancy any other man too. Jean, you're the only one in my heart. I love you and only you. Anyone else's affections have nothing to do with me. I don't want them anyway. Tang Zhongnan said this while glaring at me, suppressing the urge to lash back. I denied it. Believe it or not, that letter wasn't for you. I'd say the same even in front of Uncle Tang, brother, sister-in-law. You two go enjoy yourselves. I have plans to meet a friend. Is it really that hard to call him brother and her sister-in-law? I'll do it. In this life, we are just brother and sister. I walked away, pulling my suitcase. Without a single glance back, Ling Jean said with feigned magnanimity, oh my, the young lady has quite a temper. You must have upset her. Why don't you go and make it up to her? Tang Zhongnan pulled Ling Jean into an embrace, unable to resist the urge to be affectionate. Seeing my stubborn figure retreating, he said coldly, leave her be. Don't think a small act of saving my life gives you any hold over me. If you have the nerve, stay out of the Tang family's house for good, too. I never had any intention of marrying into the Tang family, if only it were possible. How I wish Mom and Dad could come back to be with me. But there are no if-onlys in life, so I can only focus on securing my own future. My grandparents are still waiting for me back in the countryside, counting on me for their old age. I absolutely must not waste any more time on Tang Zhongnan. After a few days at school, Uncle Tang called and asked me to come home. His birthday had arrived, and he wanted me to return for the celebration. Things have been quite lively in our social circle these past few days, ever since Tang Zhongnan announced his relationship with Ling Jean. The young masters in their social circle have been fawning over him, which in turn has earned her a certain degree of respect by association. At Uncle Tang's birthday party this time, I'm afraid he's going to announce the engagement between Tang Zhongnan and Ling Jean. I didn't want to go and invite trouble, but Uncle Tang insisted I come back, saying he had something important to announce. I had no choice but to agree. In the end, Uncle Tang sent someone to pick me up. I was still a bit surprised when I saw him. Hello little sister. Brother Jiqing is here to pick you up. Jiqing and I practically grew up together. Out of personal preference, I never called Tang Zhongnan brother. So naturally I never called Jiqing that either. Hello, brother Jiqing. Sorry to trouble you. Jiqing's smile faltered, then vanished as he studied me from behind his sunglasses. Are you alright? I was baffled. I'm fine. Why do you ask? He stared at me for a few moments, then turned his head away and led me out under the gaze of the onlookers. "So, have you heard about Jonan and that person?" "Yeah, I heard. What do you think about it?" "Me. If they want to get married, let them. I'll chip in for the gift. Thing is, I'm a bit short on cash right now." "Hey, Jicheng, could you lend me some money?" I even cracked a little joke. Jicheng clicked his tongue, as if he'd just discovered a new continent. "I thought you liked Tang Zhongyan." "I don't like Tang Zhongyan anymore." Was my affection really that obvious to everyone else? Jicheng looked at me a couple more times, then smiled. "What about me? Then, if you don't like Zhongyan, could you like me instead?" Me. 3. Back at the Tang residence, both my uncle and aunt were home. As I stepped inside, I tripped on the rug and nearly fell. Jicheng caught me by the waist. I was just about to thank him when someone abruptly pulled us apart. My arm was grabbed so tightly it hurt. "You're hurting me." I frowned at Tang Zhongyan, wondering what on earth had gotten into him. "Jicheng, I told you Bai Jiaqiu is a deep one, not your type to handle. People like her don't belong in our circle. Don't be fooled by her looks." Jicheng shrugged and went to greet his uncle and aunt. "I want to go too, but Tang Zhongyan is still gripping my arm. Don't think for a second I don't see right through your little game." My wrist hurt, and my patience was wearing thin. If my aunt and uncle weren't here, I would have lost my temper right then and there. "What game? I have no idea what you're talking about." "Ha, you're just trying to flirt with Jicheng right in front of me to test my reaction, aren't you? Let me make this clear. Bai Jiaqiu, even if you sleep with someone else tonight, I won't be jealous, and I certainly won't stop you." My heart sank like a stone. I knew Tang Zhongyan didn't love me, but I never imagined he would demean me like this. Does he really think that after being reborn, with all this hatred between us, I could still love him? Does he think I have no other options but him? Bai Jiaqiu, am not a failure, nor am I some ugly duckling. What gives him the right to judge me like that? Please let me go." Tang Zhongyan suddenly realized he was still gripping my arm. He wrenched his arm from my grasp as if burned, leaving a red mark on my skin. His eyes darted away a few times before he said, "Anyway, stop with these ideas. Like today's, I'm going to be engaged to Jin. My parents will announce it tonight. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, I was the one who begged them for this." He looked at me with a gaze that said, "You can give up now." But my heart had already died long ago. I turned around, draping my coat over the spot Tang Zhongyan had just grabbed to cover it, and went to greet my uncle and aunt. No matter how Tang Zhongyan treated me, my uncle and aunt have always been very good to me, giving me whatever I wanted. The reason I've achieved such results in physics is also thanks to my uncle and aunt's unwavering support. It's my uncle's birthday today. I can't be a downer. After exchanging greetings, I went upstairs to change. I hadn't gone far when Jicheng called out to me. "This gown is for you." He handed over the dress. I was taken aback for a moment and didn't take it. "The marks on your wrist are too noticeable. If someone sees them, there will inevitably be talk. This is a long-sleeved top. It should help cover them up. You can give it back to me after the party." He winked at me. "Thank you, brother Jicheng." I thanked him sweetly, genuinely touched by Jicheng's thoughtfulness. "I told you not to call him brother Zhongyan. He's a careless guy. Only patient with Ling Jin, but I'm different. Anyone my brother takes a liking to, I'll cherish every single second of every day. So, little sister, how about becoming the one on my mind?" Jicheng's impressive height was like a male model's, and his face, which could rival any celebrity's, shone brilliantly under the lights. I'd always known Jicheng was born with good looks, and on top of that, he came from a prominent family with political connections. The family discipline was very strict, otherwise, the Tang family would never have allowed Tang Zhongyan and Jicheng to grow up together as playmates. "Brother Jicheng, are you serious?" I asked him with some caution. Jicheng just smiled, patted my head, and turned to leave. I'm having a hard time figuring him out. 4. The dinner was attended by many distinguished guests. Quite a few people came to Uncle Tang's 55th birthday celebration. Listlessly, I wandered around with a glass in hand, watching the lively toasts and chatter at the banquet, my mind beginning to drift. In my previous life, I was always the one who arranged these kinds of events. Ever since I married Tang Zhongyan, he couldn't be bothered with anything at home, not even when I gave birth, or for the baby's 100-day celebration. He never showed up. It was just me and my in-laws who attended. Back then, I was always the subject of gossip and pointing fingers, just like I am now. "Have you heard that Bai Jiaqiu, raised by the Tang family who've done more than enough for her, still has her sights set on seducing young Master Tang?" "Exactly, but young Master Tang wouldn't give her the time of day. A country girl like her, dreaming of marrying into high society just because of some so-called life-saving debt. I'm starting to wonder if that accident back then was really an accident or something she orchestrated. Look at how dressed up she is today. She must be trying to catch Mr. Tang's eye, right? Miss Ling said Mr. Tang is going to propose to her in front of everyone today. Some people just have no self-awareness. I heard these remarks, and so did Tang Zhongnan, yet, he just kept introducing Ling Jingjin around, completely ignoring everyone else. This only emboldened the onlookers to be even more brazen. I swallowed my anger, telling myself I just had to endure it a little longer. Once tonight was over, everything would be fine. Shut up, all of you, if any of you dares to say another word. I'll be the one paying your hospital bills today. A cold, sharp reprimand cut through the air. I saw Ji Chen glaring icily at the people who had been gossiping. They were just people Ling Jingjin had hired. They didn't have the guts to provoke Ji Qing and only dared to bully someone like me, who had no backing. And with that, they scattered like startled birds and beasts. Thank you, brother Ji Qing. I thanked him sincerely. Ji Qing, however, wasn't having it. Aren't you the one with a fiery temper? Even if you don't rely on the Tang family in the future, it's fine, I've got your back. You just go ahead and stir up trouble. I'll clean up the mess for you. I smiled but didn't respond. There's no such thing as favoritism without a price. Everything comes with a cost. I knew I had nothing of value to offer Ji Qing. Soon, his parents found me. I offered my congratulations, gave them the gift, and immediately looked for an excuse to leave. Uncle Tang and Auntie Tang insisted I stay, saying they had something important to announce. 5. Uncle Tang pulled me and Tang Zhongnan to the front of the banquet hall and addressed the crowd. Everyone, quiet please. Thank you all for coming to my birthday celebration. Today, in this festive spirit, I'd like to announce 2 things. I was standing beside Tang Zhongnan when he whispered to me, "Did you pull some strings?" Let me make this clear. Even if my father forces me to marry you, I won't do it. I'm not making the same mistake twice. Me too. Tang Zhongnan was taken aback and asked, "What did you just say?" "Zhongnan, Qiuqiu, come over here." Tang Zhongnan's question was cut off by Uncle Tang. I paid him no further attention. With a smile, I stepped forward, allowing Aunt Tang to take my hand while Uncle Tang took hold of Tang Zhongnan. Uncle Tang said, "I've always been very fond of Qiuqiu. I've wanted to take her as my daughter for a long time. But a fortune teller said I had to wait until my 55th birthday to do so. Qiuqiu's parents sacrificed themselves to save our entire family. I will be eternally grateful for that debt, and they gave us the gift of such an outstanding daughter in Qiuqiu. From today onward, Qiuqiu is the eldest young lady of the Tang family. She holds the same status as Zhongnan, therefore, I hope all of you present will show her some consideration in the future. Our child is still young and shouldn't have to endure any grievances." Tang Zhongnan was taken aback, and his gaze instantly shifted to me. I simply smiled calmly, even taking a moment to say, "Godfather, godmother, brother." Everyone immediately understood that from then on, I was no longer a nameless, unacknowledged stray girl. I was the acknowledged young lady of the Tang family, recognized by Uncle and Aunt Tang. If anyone dared to bully me, the Tang family would undoubtedly seek justice. The few people who had been bad-mouthing me earlier slunk away from the corner of the banquet hall, as if they were terrified I'd remember them and tell on them. My godparents gave me a gift. I walked over, held out my hand, and asked Tang Zhongnan, "Don't you have a gift for me, brother?" Tang Zhongnan fixed me with an intense gaze, his eyes narrowing slightly as he murmured, "What are you scheming now? Even if you become my sister, I won't have any feelings for you. You're overthinking it. Brother, I've told you, I really don't like you. My heart belongs to someone else. Who is it you like? Point them out to me. Or you're just making it more obvious. Is it fun to get close to me using this disgusting identity? By Jiaqiu, have you no shame?" He actually said I had no shame. In our past life, the one who wanted to have his cake and eat it too was him. How dare he have the nerve to call me shameless? Then again, I suppose I gave him my face. Which is why his skin is now thick enough to utter such disgraceful words. Like, what do you mean like, Qiuqiu? Do you have a crush on someone? Is that person here? Godmother's ears were sharp. She caught a few words. Tang Zhongnan's body went rigid, and he shot me a warning look. I turned to Godmother with a flawless expression and said with a smile, "There is someone." My brother saw me writing to him once and asked about it. At the time, I felt I wasn't good enough for him, so I never confessed. Godmother took my hand and said, "You're the Tang family's young lady now. You're good enough for anyone. Bring him over right now so we can meet him." Tang Zhongnan said coldly, "Mom, don't add to the fuss. Who else could she possibly like? Wasn't today supposed to be about announcing my engagement to Jingjin? Let's stick to that." Tang Zhongnan was convinced I couldn't possibly be interested in anyone else. I caught sight of Jiqing in the crowd and waved him over. He pointed to himself questioningly, and I gave an emphatic nod. Tang Zhongnan hissed a warning. Don't you dare make a scene, it's Dad's birthday, your drama can wait. There was an urgent edge to his voice, as if he were trying to hide something. But I just wanted Tang Zhongnan to know I had absolutely no interest in him. 6. The moment Jiqing walked in, my godparents' eyes lit up. Qiu, is Jiqing the one you said you have feelings for? I nodded shyly, stepped forward, and said to Jiqing, Brother Jiqing, I like you. I've written you many letters before, but I never had the courage to give them to you. I hope today you'll give me a chance to express my feelings and get to know you better. Jiqing raised an eyebrow. First glancing at Tang Zhongnan, whose face had darkened. Do you really like me, Brother Jiqing? I like you. I looked into Jiqing's eyes, with a hint of pleading. Are you trying to get me into trouble? Don't be silly. Just as Tang Zhongnan stepped forward to grab me, I heard Jiqing say, what a coincidence. I like you too, uncle, auntie. I also care for Qiu very much. From now on, I will help you take good care of her. I promise no one will ever bully her, not even myself. Please hold me to it. As he spoke, Jiqing bent down, took my hand, and led me from Tang Zhongnan's side to his own. Oh my, this is truly wonderful news. Jiqing is such a thoughtful and caring young man. Knowing that you'll be the one looking after Qiu from now on puts my mind completely at ease. Godfather was so happy that he couldn't help but clink glasses with Godmother. Only Tang Zhongnan wore an aloof expression, with a somewhat gloomy look. He stared for a few moments at Jiqing holding my hand before turning away. When he saw Lin Jingjin, his expression softened briefly. Mom and Dad, let's announce my engagement to Jingjin today as well. Godfather remained silent, while Godmother smiled in agreement and announced the news. After the announcement, Godmother personally took me and Jiqing around to meet everyone, leaving Tang Zhongnan and Lin Jingjin in an awkward silence. Qiu must hate me for taking you away. That's why she's pulling this stunt to steal the spotlight. Zhongnan, if she already dislikes me this much now, won't she see me as a thorn in her side once I marry you? Will your parents end up disliking me too? Tang Zhongnan's gaze followed me and Jiqing, and he replied dismissively, don't overthink it. My parents still respect my wishes. Her parents saved my whole family, so we only feel gratitude toward her. But the Tang family has supported Bai Jiaqiu for 10 years now. That's more than enough to repay any debt. If she dares to bully you, I'll definitely protect you. Zhongnan, you're always so good to me. Lin Jingjin leaned into Tang Zhongnan's embrace, her eyes filled with deep calculation. 7. During a break in the banquet, I stepped out for some fresh air by the pond in the courtyard. Lin Jingjin approached, holding a wine glass. I was about to walk away to avoid any bad vibes. Lin Jingjin called out to me, why are you avoiding me? Got a guilty conscience. I have no idea what you're talking about. Miss Leng, you put on an act in front of Zhongnan, calling me sister-in-law. But the moment we're alone, it's back to Miss Leng. Don't think I don't know what's going on in that head of yours. Bai Jiaqiu, let me make this perfectly clear. I might already be carrying Zhongnan's child. He can't bear to be apart from me now. He's with me every single day. I suggest you drop any other ideas you have about him, or don't blame me for having you thrown out of the Tang household. I couldn't help but laugh at Lin Jingjin's words. An idea struck me, and I taunted her. You're throwing me out of the Tang family. With what authority? What gives you the right? Because you're Tang Zhongnan's woman. Well, I am the Tang family's eldest daughter. My expression must have wounded Lin Jingjin's pride. She lunged at me suddenly. I dodged, and she tumbled into the pond. The pond wasn't deep, but the bottom was slippery. Lin Jingjin couldn't get up immediately and cried out for help at once. Someone shoved me hard from behind, and I fell to the ground. The water splashed up, drenching my clothes. When I looked again, Tang Zhongnan was already carrying Lin Jingjin out. Lin Jingjin clutched Tang Zhongnan's clothes, crying, Zhongnan, it's not Qiu's fault. I fell into the water by accident. Who are you trying to fool? I already told you that you might be pregnant. How could you be so careless? Bai Jiaqiu, what a vile heart you have. Are you so eager for something to happen to Jingjin? My palm was scraped raw and bloody against the gravel road. Blood stained my clothes, and a searing pain burned in my palm. The pain in my hand was nothing compared to the suffocating ache in my heart. I almost forgot. Tang Zhongnan never believed me, even in our past life. He would believe anything Lin Jingjin said, but my words he always viewed with prejudice, and this time, he saw it with his own eyes. Are you alright? A pair of hands steadied me and helped me to my feet. I blinked, a tear tracing a path down my cheek. Jiqing took my hand, examining it with a frown. How did you get hurt this badly? Tang Zhongnan said coldly. Jiqing, are you blind? Jingjin almost drowned. I saw. Tang Zhongnan, are you out of your mind? That puddle you call a pond isn't deep enough to drown a dog, let alone Ling Jin. She's so big, half the water probably splashed out when she fell in. If you'd waited any longer to rescue her, she might have thrashed all the water away herself. Tang Zhongnan fell silent for a moment. Ling Jin sobbed, Zhongnan, don't argue with Jiqing. I only meant to chat with Qiuqiu, thinking we'd be family soon and hoping to bridge the gap. I never imagined she'd be so hostile towards me. It's all my fault. Since you admit it's your fault, why don't you just shut up? You keep poking the bear even when you know you're not welcome. Honestly, I can't decide if you're asking for it or just plain shameless. Tang Zhongnan, we've known Qiuqiu since we were kids. You of all people should know her character. How can you take a stranger's word over hers? And hey, there are cameras around, right? If Miss Ling is so keen on proving her innocence, she can always ask you to review the footage. Tang Zhongnan felt Ling Jin tense up in his arms, clinging to him as she wept. I understand you're Qiuqiu's boyfriend, so of course you'd side with her. I'm just an outsider here. Zhongnan, please, could you drive me back? I'd rather not have anyone see me like this. Someone in the room has already noticed what's happening over here. Tang Zhongnan, clearly distressed over Ling Jin, shot me a warning look with a frown. This isn't over. I'll get to the bottom of this. With that, he carried Ling Jin and left. Jiqing looked down, holding my hand, and said, your hand is hurt this badly. I'm taking you to the hospital to get it bandaged. He stated it as a matter of fact, and even thoughtfully said hello to my godparents. 8. After my wound was treated, I asked Jiqing to take me back to school. Do you have any idea what time it is? The dormitory doors are locked at this hour. You'll have to crash at my place tonight. I quickly said, no need, I'll just get a hotel room and make do for the night. Do you have a change of clothes? My cousin's room has some of her things. Come back with me first, and I'll have someone find you something to wear. We just made our relationship public today. Going to my place is the proper thing to do. Staying at a hotel would be a slap in the face for me. He looked at me with a your choice expression. I said obediently, then I'll trouble you, brother Jiqing. I'm not that much older than you, just 4.5 years, right? Just call me by my name, Jiqing, boyfriend, partner. I see people use all sorts of terms. Pick one. Me, brother Jiqing. About what happened today, you were the one who started this. Don't tell me you're just using me. Jiqing's smile vanished, his eyes fixed on me with a chilling coldness. I suddenly remembered the rumor circulating about Jiqing in our circle. They say that when Jiqing loses his temper, he recognizes neither friend nor family. I couldn't help but swallow hard and said, no, I would never dream of using you. What about those letters you wrote me? When do I get them? I thought to myself. Tang Zhongnan burned all the letters. There's no way I can hand them over. But I was afraid of dying, so I figured I'd write a few in a couple of days to placate him. So I said, I'll give them to you in a couple of days. They're all in my room. Alright, I'll ask you again in a few days. If you don't give it to me, I'll just ask your parents for it. My phone rang, saving me from Jiqing's interrogation. I looked at my phone and froze at the sight of the name Tang Zhongnan. He had never called me on his own before. This was a first, but I didn't answer. I could pretty much guess why he was calling. He just wanted to lecture me. I'm exhausted enough as it is today. The last thing I need is another lecture from Tang Zhongnan, so I just shut it down. Jiqing glanced over, a faint smile touching the corner of his lips. 9. That evening, when I took a shower, the housekeeper helped me wrap my arm in plastic wrap. I managed to wash up with one hand and then put on my pajamas. That night, I slept surprisingly well. The next morning, my hand felt much better. When I opened my phone, I saw that Tang Zhongnan had called me many times. There were also messages. Tang Zhongnan, where are you? Tang Zhongnan, pick up. Tang Zhongnan, I've seen the surveillance footage. Alright. I know it wasn't your fault. Where are you right now? Tang Zhongnan, by Jiaqiu, where the hell are you? Are you with Jiqing? The last message, sent after 3 a.m., was from Tang Zhongnan. Did you sleep with Jiqing? I let out a cold laugh. He thinks everyone is just like him, so, the first thing after being reborn is to sleep with someone. Auntie called me for breakfast, but I didn't see Jiqing. Auntie explained with a smile. The young master went out last night and came back quite late. He's still sleeping. Oh, and miss, the young master has already arranged for old Chen to take you to school later. Alright, thank you, Auntie. The young master also instructed that you should take these ointments. If your hand bothers you, please visit the infirmary. Alright, thank you, brother Jiqing. The young master said that if you wish to thank him, you should promptly return his belongings to him. Sometimes, having too good a memory is a curse. After lunch, Uncle Chen drove me to school. I had just stepped out of the car when I ran into Tang Zhongnan. He had dark circles under his eyes. The moment he saw me, a light flickered in his gaze, but it faded just as quickly. "Why didn't you answer your phone?" he asked me coldly. "My phone died." I turned it on in front of him, but it immediately shut down again from low battery. Tang Zhongnan's expression softened for a moment, only to harden again instantly. "Where were you last night?" he demanded coldly. I looked at Tang Zhongnan's face and found the whole situation rather amusing. "I was at Jiqing's place." Tang Zhongnan's eyes suddenly turned sharp and piercing. He stared at me as if trying to see right through me. "What are you throwing a fit about? When I told you to go sleep with someone, you actually went and did it." "By Jiaqiu, I had no idea you were such a cheap woman." A lump formed in my throat, in Tang Zhongnan's eyes. Even if he saw the surveillance footage and knew I didn't push Lin Jingjin, it wouldn't change his lousy opinion of me. Once someone's prejudice runs deep enough, there's no straightening it out. "None of your business. I have nothing to do with you. It doesn't matter. Our parents just announced yesterday that you're the Tang family's young mistress. If it truly doesn't matter, then you shouldn't have agreed to let them adopt you as their daughter." Tang Zhongyan's shouting drew quite a crowd. I thought he must have lost his mind, so I decided to lay it all out. "Because once I'm their adopted daughter, you won't think I have feelings for you anymore. Tang Zhongyan, I really, truly don't like you. If I ever gave you the wrong impression before, I apologize. I was young then, naive about matters of the heart, but now I know what I want." After I finished speaking and turned to leave, Tang Zhongyan grabbed my hand. His voice was hoarse as he asked, "What is it that you want?" His voice trembled slightly. Perhaps he didn't believe that my feelings for him had truly died. I continued, "Whatever I may want, it isn't you, Tang Zhongyan. I don't want you. I never will." After I finished speaking, I pulled Tang Zhongyan's hand away. The bandage on my own hand seemed to sting his eyes. It finally dawned on him. Yesterday, when he pushed me, he just parted his lips in the end, but remained silent. 10. The month had finally drawn to a close, and the day had come for me to leave the school. I packed up my things and headed out with my luggage. I ran into Jiqing the moment I stepped outside. I was a bit startled, wondering what had brought him here. I'd almost forgotten about Jiqing during this time. "What's this? You won't give me the letter, and now you're trying to run away too." "No, it's just that you just want to get into the research institute and don't want anyone else to know." How did Jiqing find out?" "I haven't told a soul. The letter to my godparents probably won't be delivered until tonight." "I told you, if you provoke me, you'll have to take responsibility. I gave you time to come to me willingly, not to run away. In my past life, I was trapped by love. In this one, I don't want to get too deeply entangled in romantic affairs. It's wise for a young lady to be cautious. But think about it, if Tang Zhongnan has regrets in the future, who will be there to protect you?" I feel like I've jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. "Are you threatening me?" If my previous words caused a misunderstanding, I sincerely apologize. As you could see that day, I had no other choice. How about I agree to do one thing for you? Two things at most. Jiqing looked at me with a deep, penetrating gaze, as if he was considering it. My heart sank. If Jiqing didn't let me leave and then spilled my business to the Tang family, it would only bring me a world of trouble. "You saw the social media posts, right? I heard Lin Jingjin is pregnant, and Tang Zhongnan will marry her soon. I'm not trying to pressure you. I just want to give you another option." Cho. Look at me more. I'm better than Tang Zhongnan. Me. This guy would make a great salesman. He's got a whole sales pitch ready to go. Jiqing finally agreed to let me off the hook if I did two things for him. In the end, I successfully got into the research institute. After a 2-week settling in period, I finally started to get used to the pace of the institute, and my days became quite fulfilling. The only thing is, Tang Zhongnan has been pestering me lately, constantly asking where I am. I didn't block him, nor did I reply, because I knew that if I blocked him, he'd immediately go and complain to my godfather and godmother. After I left, my godfather called and asked if I had feelings for Tang Zhongnan. He said if I did, he would make it happen for me. He could tell my feelings for Tang Zhongnan were different, which is why he asked. I made it clear to him that I have no romantic feelings for Tang Zhongnan. My heart belongs to Jiqing. So I asked him to keep it confidential and not tell Tang Zhongnan where I went. The fact that Tang Zhongnan hasn't found me all this time suggests my godfather didn't say much. The messages from Tang Zhongnan keep piling up. "Tang Zhongnan, where the hell have you been? You think acting like this will make me care? Is that your pathetic attempt to get my attention? You're insane, Tang Zhongnan." By Jiaqiu, I'm telling you one more time, pick up the phone. "Where on earth are you, Tang Zhongnan? Jingjin already has a child. I won't fall for anyone else." Tang Zhongnan, by Jiaqiu, why are you ignoring me, feeling guilty, or are you afraid that if you talk to me, you won't be able to help but fall for me? Tang Zhongnan, by Jiaqiu, where on earth are you? Tang Zhongnan, why doesn't even Jiqing know where you are? By Jiaqiu, is hiding from me fun for you? Are you really that guilty? Reading Tang Zhongnan's messages, I furrowed my brow. This guy is something else, in my past life. He couldn't stand me, but now that I've stopped chasing him, he's the one who won't leave me alone. Does he really not believe I'm not into him? Just as I was thinking that, Jiqing called me, little sister, I've got a life or death favor to ask of you, just one condition. As Jiqing and I sat together to take our marriage license photo, my mind was already made up. You agreed so reluctantly. Are you really sure you want to get married with me? Jiqing still seemed unconvinced. I laughed nervously. Of course it's true. Today, I'm taking you to meet my godparents, and after that, I'll take you to see my grandparents. A smile tugged at the corner of Jiqing's lips. What? Think I'm presentable enough to show off to the family? I sighed. My grandfather isn't in good health. His greatest wish is to see me settled down. Jiqing reached over and gently took my hand. Don't worry, he said softly. I'll always be here for you. I murmured an acknowledgement. But in truth, I hadn't heard a word he said. My mind was completely preoccupied with how I was going to explain bringing Jiqing home that evening. 12. Sure enough, upon returning to the Tang residence, I found Tang Zhongnan and Ling Jingjin there. You're back, little sister. Where have you been all these days? Zhongnan was so worried about you, he couldn't even cheer up when I told him I was pregnant. Ling Jingjin spoke with a sarcastic edge. I glanced at Tang Zhongnan, who said coldly, I wasn't concerned about her. I just didn't want her dying out there and people saying the Tang family is ungrateful. Tang Zhongnan's eyes still held a spark of anger. I said with a smile, brother, sister-in-law, there's no need to worry about me. Jiqing and I are doing just fine. Oh, and I came back specifically to tell godfather and godmother. Jiqing and I got our marriage certificate today. Ling Jingjin immediately exclaimed. You and Jiqing really got your marriage certificate. Tang Zhongnan clenched his fist, his eyes fixed intently on me, trying to discern the truth. The aunt came out and called me in. My godfather and godmother were already seated. To my surprise, Jiqing's parents were there as well. Jiqing is being completely reckless. How could he just go and get the marriage certificate with Qiuqiu without a word to anyone? This is no way to treat her. We're here today to make it right, don't you worry. Qiuqiu will have everything that any other bride would have. Jiqing's parents really lived up to their reputation of having deep pockets. No sooner had they finished speaking than the sound of cars and a flurry of activity came from outside. I went out first to take a look and saw Jiqing arriving with a whole crew of people, hauling in loads of things. He was holding a bouquet of roses. The moment he saw me, he smiled, gave me a hug, and pressed the roses into my arms. What are you doing? What, you don't think I'm getting married just to keep it a secret, do you? What would be the point of that? The whole reason I'm getting married is to get people off my back about it. We're helping each other out. Let's just see this through. Me, when Tang Zhongnan and the others came out, I had no choice but to smile and link arms with Jiqing as we headed back inside. As we passed by Tang Zhongnan, the look in his eyes could have killed us both, since we had already registered our marriage. My godparents didn't insist on an engagement ceremony, but a wedding banquet was definitely a must. Tang Zhongnan was older than me, and with Ling Jingjin being pregnant, his wedding took place before mine. That evening, Jiqing's parents left him at the Tang residence, or rather, in my room, to let us spend some time together. Me, no, this is moving way too fast, something just doesn't feel right. It was supposed to be a marriage of convenience. How did it spiral so completely out of control? Jiqing and I stood in the room, staring at each other. He smiled and asked, would you like to shower first, or shall I? I'll go first. There were some things in the bathroom I wouldn't want a guy to see, so I had to go in first to tidy up. While I was showering, I thought I heard someone knocking, but when I asked Jiqing about it, he said he didn't hear anything. Tang Zhongnan lives next door. The knocking must have been for him. After his bath, Jiqing took the robe the housekeeper gave him and went in to shower. I started my skincare routine, and I still hadn't finished applying everything by the time he came out. Jiqing walked over casually, picked up the hairdryer, and started blow-drying my hair for me. I felt my cheeks grow warm. This was the first time I'd been this close to a man. Just as my hair was halfway dry, there was a knock at the door. I started to get up to answer it, but Jiqing pressed a hand on my shoulder to stop me. His voice was hoarse as he called out, it's not a good time, let's talk tomorrow. Me, that tone was totally misleading, wasn't it? Outside the door fell silent, leaving only my awkwardness in the room. lying in bed and maintaining a clear distance from Jiqing. I was so awkward I kept swallowing. Jiqing chuckled, "If you're craving your brother that much, little sister, why not come over and have a feel?" Me, 13, the next day, as Jiqing and I left the Tang residence, I didn't see Tang Zhongnan, only a weary-looking Ling Jingjin. Jiqing and I returned to my hometown and visited my grandparents. Grandma is in good health, Grandpa's health is a bit frail, but his spirits are still quite good. Seeing me get married, they were very pleased with Jiqing. It happened to be wheat harvest season. Jiqing helped with the reaping, and Grandpa was very satisfied with him. They even made him a delicious meal in the evening, though after eating it, Jiqing couldn't sleep that night. Grandpa is hinting he wants a great-grandchild. The soup he gave me was rather potent. Me, don't say such scandalous things to me. Chocho, I don't feel well. I was at a loss. What should I do then? I can't just sleep with Jiqing, can I? Wouldn't that make things even more complicated? What if I don't hold you responsible? Just do this for me. Didn't I help Grandpa harvest the wheat today? You really don't need me to take responsibility, you heartless woman. Jiqing chuckled darkly as he pinned me down, his kiss descending upon me. I heard someone knocking at the door. There was no way Jiqing would let me go. I could only faintly hear Grandpa going to answer it, as if bringing someone inside. Jiqing was being too rough, and I couldn't help but let out a couple of soft moans. Outside, it suddenly fell quiet, and soon after, someone left. In the darkness, Jiqing's voice was low and husky as he tempted me. Say you love me, Chocho. I love you, you little rascal. I'm the one who loves you. Does Jiqing love me? When, my brain is fried. 14. It wasn't until the next day that I found out Tang Zhongnan had come by the night before, left some gifts, and then left. Grandpa blushed and said to Jiqing, "Ah, the vigor of youth is a wonderful thing." Me, that's so embarrassing. It wasn't until I returned to the Tang family that I learned Ling Jingjin had suffered a miscarriage while searching for Tang Zhongnan. With the rain these past 2 days, Ling Jingjin slipped and fell, forcing the couple to postpone their wedding. I married Jiqing. Afterwards, I moved into Jiqing's villa, continuing my research work. I only found time to visit my godparents occasionally. I later heard from my godmother that Tang Zhongnan and Ling Jingjin had a falling out. Ling Jingjin might seem easygoing, but she's full of schemes. She hadn't even married into the family yet and was already trying to manage household affairs. She even egged Zhongnan on to transfer his shares into her name. Isn't that just absurd? Even a scam artist wouldn't be that blatant. I didn't offer any opinion, as it had nothing to do with me. Later on, everyone in our social circle was talking about how Tang Zhongnan and Ling Jingjin had several ugly public rows. The word was that Tang Zhongnan had someone else on his mind. Ling Jingjin accused Tang Zhongnan of losing sight of his original aspirations. That night, Jiqing came home in a terrible mood. He stated his second condition. He wanted me to bear him a child. Lately, I've grown increasingly fond of Jiqing because he always puts me first and never sacrifices my interests. He respects me deeply, never stopping me from pursuing what I love. On the contrary, he's very supportive. I adore children and have always wanted to raise a child in a loving home. Later, when I became pregnant, the doctor told us it was twins, which brought immense joy to Jiqing and his family. I continued with my research work, though Jiqing would pick me up every morning and evening. Then one day, when Jiqing couldn't make it, I ran into Tang Zhongnan. I stood under my umbrella while he was drenched in the rain, and we gazed at each other through the curtain of rain. With reddened eyes, he stepped forward and looked down at me, as if seeing someone from his memory. Are you reborn too? You hate me, so in this life you refuse to marry me, refuse to bear our child, isn't that right? Isn't this exactly what you wanted? In our past life, you killed me and our child with your own hands. Why should I repeat that tragedy in this life? Tang Zhongnan, you didn't choose me, so whatever happens between you and Ling Jingjin has nothing to do with me. I only ask that you don't blame me for it. Tang Zhongnan slowly knelt down in the rain. He reached out and gently held my calf, lowering his head as he trembled and said, "But, Chocho, I regret it." The rain grew heavier and heavier, so heavy that I could no longer make out Tang Zhongnan's words. In our past life, he caused the deaths of me and our child, all to save Ling Jingjin. How can he stand here now and tell me he regrets it? Stop being pathetic. Tang Zhongnan, you don't truly love anyone, you're just willful, aren't you? What you can't have always seems best. You're truly despicable. With that, I shook off Tang Zhongnan and walked past him. Tang Zhongnan turned around on his knees and cried out to me, "Chocho, it's you I love in my heart. You're the one I care for. What I had with Ling Jingjin was the mistake. Chocho, please forgive me." My body froze. Ha. How pathetic. Without turning my head, I said, go ask the child you killed, and the me from my past life, if they would ever forgive you. Don't show your face to me again, I find you utterly repulsive. Tang Zhonglin's shoulders slumped instantly as he watched me walk away. I held my umbrella and walked my own path. Steadfastly, I moved forward. I was the one who had Ling Jingjing's child killed. I paid someone to do it for me. They killed my child. How could I possibly allow their child to be born? As for the two of them, I want them to live, to loathe each other's existence, and to suffer, until the day they die. The end. Story 2. Both Bian Yan and I were bullied at the same time, yet he fell in love with the girl who had been tormenting him. To please her, he abandoned me on the highway. A speeding bus crashed into me. In my last moment of life, I thought the most regretful thing I had ever done was falling for Bian Yan. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in the classroom of my 18-year-old high school days. This time, when Tang Yao poured dirty water on Bian Yan again, I didn't step in to protect him. 1. Stinky orphan. No one loves you. He. Who are you pretending to be noble for? The summer sun shone brightly, and in the noisy classroom, I was back in high school once more. Tang Yao poured the dirty water from the glass bottle onto Bian Yan. She was followed by several lackeys. Ugh, it stinks so bad. A group of people burst into laughter. Bian Yan was at a loss, his body soaked, looking like a pitiful little animal. I just lay on the desk, motionless. I was truly curious. Why would a normal person develop feelings for someone who bullied them? In fact, Bian Yan and I could be considered childhood sweethearts. Both of us were orphans, growing up together in the orphanage since we were little. The tuition fees for school were sponsored by the Welfare Institute. In my previous life, due to continuous bullying, Bian Yan struggled in the extreme emotions of self-loathing. I was always by his side, pulling him out of the quagmire. After the college entrance examination, we went to the same university. During our junior year, we started a business together. He was in charge of the overall project planning, and I was responsible for external communication. It took us 4 years to hire employees, establish the company, and reach an annual turnover of over 100 million yuan. I thought we could keep walking together like this, but then Tang Yao came back. Her father's company went bankrupt. At a banquet, she cried to Bian Yan, I'm begging you, I'll do anything, please save my dad. Bian Yan gave her a cold look. What can you offer me? Although he said that, he kept Tang Yao by his side. He not only invested a large sum of money in her father's company but also fulfilled all her wayward demands. He was incredibly good to her. I even stormed into Bian Yan's office and queried him, do you know what you're doing? Her father's company is a bottomless pit with a mountain of bad debts. You're risking all our years of hard work. He looked at me, shook his head, and smiled bitterly. Qixia, you don't understand me. Indeed, I didn't understand him. After he let Tang Yao slap me, I decided to leave Bian Yan, but there were too many funds jointly involved between Bian Yan and me, and it wasn't easy to divide them up immediately, especially that year. There was a huge project that required both of us to participate, but I never expected that on the way to that project, he would bring Tang Yao along. I lost my temper for the first time. This was a project plan I had prepared for a whole year. What was he thinking bringing Tang Yao with him? But Tang Yao said to him, Bian Yan, since Sister Qixia doesn't like me so much, just leave her here. 2. After having dirty water poured on him, Bian Yan instinctively looked back at me. Yes, every time he was bullied, I would immediately step forward, stand in front of him, and confront Tang Yao aggressively, even though I knew I was no match for her. She was a rich kid, surrounded by a group of friends, and none of them were easy to deal with. I averted my gaze. I completely ignored the pleading look he cast at me. Yo. Even Qixia won't help you this time. So funny. What are you going to do? Cry or kneel down and beg for mercy? Ha ha ha. I listened to these words without any emotional fluctuation. I even yawned. In my previous life, I became the target of Tang Yao's bullying because I helped Bian Yan. If I hadn't meddled, I could have had nothing to do with that group of people at all. Qixia, what's going on? Why are you just standing by? Tang Yao was shocked to see me like this. She walked over, crossed her arms, and knocked hard on my desk. I picked up my textbook and started flipping through it. I'm not his nanny. I have no obligation to take care of him. Hearing this, Bian Yan's face changed instantly. His eyes were red, his palms tightly clenched, and he called me softly, Xia. I frowned in annoyance, pretended not to hear, and turned another page of the book. Tang Yao covered her mouth and laughed. Seriously, aren't you two childhood sweethearts, classmate Qixia? Would you be willing to swap seats with me? I casually replied, whatever. Bian Yan and I had been desk mates for 3 years in high school. During school, Tang Yao always wanted to swap seats with me to sit next to Bian Yen, but I firmly refused. Even when Tang Yao brought the teacher over, I clearly stated that casually changing seats would affect my studies, and I didn't want to be disturbed. Since my grades were consistently in the top 10 of the grade, the teacher hesitated. Although the Tang family had influence, the teacher didn't want to risk a student's grades, but this time, I simply nodded. If you want to swap, we can do it right now. As I spoke, I started packing up the exercise books on my desk. Xia, what's wrong with you? It was Bian Yen. He suddenly grabbed my wrist, looked at me intently, his lips trembling, and his voice tinged with grievance. What did I do to make you angry? I sighed. Then I shook off Bian Yan's hand. Don't call me Xia anymore. 3. I carried my school bag and walked to Tang Yao's seat. I could vaguely guess why Tang Yao wanted to swap seats. A big part of it must be because of her deskmate, He Tingzhou. I stole a quick glance at the gloomy teenager sitting beside me, not daring to say much, and quietly started arranging my books. In my previous life, I didn't have much interaction with He Tingzhou, but I still had a deep impression of him. He came from a wealthy family. His father was a well-known real estate tycoon, and his mother was an artist. His life should have been smooth sailing, but in primary school, he had a serious car accident that left his calf disabled, and he could no longer stand up. From then on, he was confined to a wheelchair. He Tingzhou was taciturn and rarely talked to those around him. Although Tang Yao was the queen bee in the class, she didn't dare to offend him. My knowledge of him mainly came from the grade rankings after each exam. He Tingzhou's name was almost always at the top. I thought his abilities combined with his family background would lead to a bright future for him. However, that wasn't the case. It wasn't until a class reunion after college that I learned he had passed away, committing suicide by cutting his wrists, because he could no longer bear his identity as a disabled person. Xia, stand up and answer this question. I was lost in my thoughts when I suddenly heard my name called. Before I knew it, the class bell had rung. It was a physics class. The middle-aged, slightly bald physics teacher stood on the podium, staring at me with a dark expression. In my previous life, I always felt that this teacher disliked me for no apparent reason. Perhaps it was because among all the subjects, physics was my weakest. Looking at the long string of questions on the blackboard, I took a deep breath, tried to recall my high school knowledge, and slowly, with hesitation, stated my solution. Is that all? The physics teacher tapped the podium with the eraser. Classmate Xia, your performance has declined. I was at a loss for words. It wasn't that my skills had declined, it was just that my mind hadn't solved such problems for years. Just as I was feeling embarrassed, a note was suddenly passed to me. The handwriting on it was neat and clean. It showed a concise and efficient solution, along with the answer. My deskmate, He Tingzhou, still didn't look up. His long fingers gently turned a page of the textbook. On that page were the key points of this lesson. He was helping me out. I gave him a grateful look, collecting my thoughts. My past physics knowledge gradually came back to me, and I gave the answer. He Tingzhou truly lived up to his reputation as a genius. He could come up with such an excellent solution in such a short time. All right, sit down. The teacher pursed his lips and casually criticized me. Pay attention in the future. Don't daydream in class. When solving problems, think comprehensively and don't forget to consider the second scenario. 4. I suddenly realized that the withdrawn and gloomy teenager might not be as scary as he seemed. He might just be sensitive and vulnerable. I grew up in an orphanage, surrounded by children with similar experiences. Some had lost both parents, and their relatives refused to take care of them, so they had to live there. Some were born with disabilities, such as blindness or severe physical problems, and were abandoned at the orphanage gate at birth. Very few of us grew up happily and carefree. Most of us were self-abased and introverted. We yearned for others' care but dared not take the first step. Although He Tingzhou came from a wealthy family, he was actually quite similar to us. I wanted to give it a try and be the one to extend the olive branch first. More importantly, although I had always been at the top of my class in high school, after all these years, I had forgotten most of the basic knowledge. I urgently needed someone to help me review. I decided to ask the academic genius, He Tingzhou, to be my teacher. The next day, I placed the cookies I made on He Tingzhou's desk. His hand holding the pen paused. He looked up and stared straight at me. I tried to give him a sincere smile. He Tingzhou, thank you for helping me in yesterday's physics class. These are my token of gratitude. He glanced at the cookies. He casually asked, did you make these? Yes, I was confident in my cooking skills. There weren't many caregivers in the orphanage. Since I was 6 or 7 years old, I had to learn to take care of myself. Doing laundry, cleaning, and cooking were all routine tasks. When Bien Yen was a child, he was very skinny, and sometimes his lunch would be snatched away by older kids. To make sure he didn't go hungry, I would sneak into the kitchen at night to see what food I could cook. That's when I learned how to make cookies and other snacks. He casually picked one up and put it in his mouth. "How is it?" I asked nervously. He Tingzhou didn't give a definite answer. His right index finger tapped on the table, as if he could see through my thoughts. "You're weak in electromagnetism." I nodded quickly. He gently pushed an exercise book towards me and opened it to the middle. "Start from here. Pay special attention to the questions I marked." 5. Just like that, with a box of cookies, I managed to get a little closer to He Tingzhou. After that, I often brought some small snacks. They weren't expensive, and almost all of them were made by me in the morning. He and I had a similar habit of sorting out knowledge points in the early morning, during the break after morning self-study. Just as I was concentrating on the questions in He Tingzhou's exercise book, a panicked cry suddenly came from the 2 rows in front of me. It was Bien Yan's voice. Caught off guard, I instinctively looked up in that direction. Almost all the classmates in the class were drawn to the commotion. Those sitting far away even leaned forward, curiously peering over. Bien Yan stood up from his seat, his face pale, his lips quivering continuously. There was a piece of plasticine on the desk with red spots on it. Upon closer inspection, several sharp, jagged objects were protruding from it. It was as if someone had cut a blade into sharp pieces and stuffed them inside. "God, blood, there's blood," a girl sitting by the aisle exclaimed. Only then did I notice that there was a noticeable wound on Bien Yan's hand hanging by his side, with blood dripping onto the floor. "You didn't even last 10 seconds. Why did you let go?" Tang Yao rolled her eyes. She poked Bien Yan's stomach with a ruler. "You lose this game." Bien Yan lowered his head and said softly, "I didn't know there was a blade in the eraser. Please don't play such dangerous games anymore." "What a buzzkill." Tang Yao's face fell. She took back the ruler and slammed it hard on the desk, with a loud snap. The ruler made a clear sound and bounced onto the chair in front. After watching for a while, many people understood what had happened. It was just that the young miss was bored today and came up with a new way to torment the commoners. "Yao Yao, the poor wretch was scared to death by you today. He looks like he's about to cry." Several of her friends leaned in and whispered in her ear. Tang Yao snorted and turned to look at Bien Yan. He had just sat down, looking dazed. "Hey, are you really going to cry?" Tang Yao suddenly gave him a hard push. "All right, I'll take you to the school infirmary. We don't want you to get infected." "Huh?" Bien Yan looked up in a daze. I was copying a big question from the blackboard and happened to meet his gaze. He shook his head. "No need, I can take care of it myself." 6. In my previous life, Bien Yan was always behind me. This was the first time I had observed his interaction with Tang Yao so directly. It was a very strange feeling. "That Tang Yao is quite something," He Tingzhou said as he threw a folded paper crane into a glass bottle, slap someone in the face and then offer a sweet date. What a way to psychologically manipulate people. The first day I sat next to him, I discovered that he had the hobby of paper folding, which didn't match his aloof persona at all. Constant physical torture and verbal abuse. Just when you're on the verge of despair and can't take it anymore, she'll pat your head and offer a little comfort, then you'll be overjoyed, feeling guilty for all your previous struggles and resistance. You might even feel an illusory sense of gratitude, thinking, "Ah, she's actually so good to me." Was that really the case? My mind was in a jumble, and I kept stabbing the scratch paper with the tip of my pen. I didn't even notice when Bien Yan came up beside me. "Shushya." He stood by my desk, his shadow falling on my book pages. "My hand is injured, can you bandage it for me?" In the past, without him asking, I would have already taken his hand forwardly and gotten out the alcohol and gauze. No, perhaps I wouldn't have even allowed him to get hurt in the first place. I would have grabbed Tang Yao by the collar, pinned her to the ground, and told her, "Want to play games? I'll play with you." But now, I knew that some people weren't worth your efforts. "The school infirmary is open 24 hours a day. I'm sure you know where it is," I said coldly, turning my attention back to the half-finished problem at hand. But Bien Yan forced a smile. This time, he directly placed his hand on my desk. "Shushya, it really hurts." The wound on his hand was clearly deep, blood was still seeping out, even dripping onto my desk. I was really getting irritated. I didn't know if I had been too good to Bien Yan in the past, which led him to develop the habit of relying on me. "Take your hand away, it's dirty," He Tingzhou suddenly interjected, looking up from his textbook. He grabbed a few tissues and threw them over. "Wipe it up quickly." If you want to play such stupid games, don't mess up other people's desks." The air seemed to freeze for a moment. I had to admit, He Tingzhou knew how to strike at the heart. Bian Yan slowly suppressed the smile on his lips, and his back straightened little by little. He actually picked up the tissues He Tingzhou had thrown over, gripping them with his slender fingers and vigorously wiping his wound. Some pieces of paper stuck to the surface of the wound. Just looking at it made me wince. He actually had a bit of pride in his bones. "Let's switch seats." He stared directly into He Tingzhou's eyes. "Qi Xia and I have always been desk mates. There's no need to separate us." "Oh, so what?" He Tingzhou smiled. "What does that have to do with me? I like this seat and don't want to move at all. Besides, aren't you going to ask classmate Qi Xia if she wants to sit with you?" He Tingzhou took out another piece of paper from his metal box and started folding a paper crane nonchalantly. The question was now directed at me, but Bian Yan didn't ask me, as if he was afraid to hear the answer from me. Thankfully, the class bell rang. The homeroom teacher walked in, carrying a large stack of test papers. She looked at Bian Yan and exclaimed, "Goodness, what happened?" Thanks to the teacher's intervention, the restless atmosphere in the class finally subsided. 7. This wound clearly looks like it was caused by a sharp object. The homeroom teacher walked over, grabbed Bian Yan's wrist, and frowned, her tone serious. "How could such a dangerous thing happen in the classroom? Tell me, exactly what happened." I guessed that he definitely wouldn't mention Tang Yao's name. Sure enough, Bian Yan bit his lip and remained silent. The homeroom teacher was obviously dissatisfied with this answer. She randomly pointed at a student who had her head down. "You, tell me what exactly happened during the last break." The girl kept her head down, stammering, and finally managed to squeeze out, "I went to the restroom. I don't know." No one wanted to offend Tang Yao. The teacher sighed, looking helpless. She asked the monitor to accompany Bian Yan to the infirmary and then started the class. In the next few days after this incident, there was a period of peace between Tang Yao and Bian Yan. It seemed like everything was over. Coincidentally, the mid-term exam was approaching, and I was so busy preparing that I didn't have time to pay attention to them, and He Tingzhou and I seemed to have more and more topics in common. I was surprised to find that when I was in primary school, I had even been to the wealthy area where He Tingzhou lived. At that time, a wealthy merchant donated a large sum of money to our orphanage. He was very old and had no children. His only wish was for some children to visit him often. In the year before he passed away, we went to see him almost every month. Sometimes we sang and talked with him, and sometimes we just listened quietly as he told stories about the past. I learned about this coincidence when I was pushing He Tingzhou's wheelchair along the corridor. From being cold and distant at first, he now tacitly allowed me to take him around the school when he was in a good mood. He would even let me give him a quick sprint on the playground. Our relationship was progressing rapidly. I couldn't help but raise my voice and ask, "He Tingzhou, we might have met before." He ignored me. Although I said that, I thought that even if we had met before, after all these years, we surely wouldn't remember. We just reached the corner of the stairs. Just as I was about to push him around, I suddenly heard the voices of Tang Yao and her cronies. First came the dissatisfied complaints of her lackeys. "Yao Yao, hasn't your dad scolded you these past few days? I've disliked that homeroom teacher for a long time. It was such a small thing, yet she still called the parents. It must have been that low-life Bian Yan who snitched." Tang Yao stomped her foot and snorted. "I was too nice to him these past few days. He's getting too bold, even changing seats with He Tingzhou. I have to teach him a lesson." 8. After saying these words, Tang Yao slapped the door of the adjacent classroom hard. The iron door creaked. It was locked. "Let's go." "Never mind it," someone said. After these people left, chatting and laughing, via the front stairs, I pushed He Tingzhou out. That classroom was a storage room. It had a dark green painted door, and inside were discarded teaching aids and equipment. It was only opened once every few months. There were no windows, and it was dim and gloomy. Looking at the backs of Tang Yao and the others as they left, I felt that something was off about this. From what they said, it seemed that when Bian Yan was cut by the knife, the homeroom teacher had called Tang Yao's parents, and these people suspected that Bian Yan had snitched. Although it was almost certain that things weren't as they thought, given their personalities, they would surely seek revenge. I looked at this storage room. Could it be that they locked Bian Yan inside? Actually, I didn't care what happened to Bian Yan at all, but then I suddenly remembered that this person suffered from claustrophobia. Bian Yan was brought to the welfare institute by the police. He was very young, around 4 or 5 years old. The neighbors called the police because there was a foul smell coming from his house. When the police arrived, they found that both his parents had committed suicide at home. He was huddled up, hiding in the closet for several days. If a meticulous female police officer hadn't opened the closet door, he might have been overlooked. When the female police officer carried Bien Yen out, he had wounds all over his body, wounds from being whipped with a belt, beaten with a stool, and even from having nails dug into his skin and twisted. The neighbor stood at the door, covering their nose with one hand and saying in disgust, "That couple was crazy, they fought every day." After the fights, when they were in a bad mood, they would beat the child. Every night, we could hear the child crying. It was so annoying. I thought they would die with their son, but they had a bit of conscience and left the child alive. When Bien Yen introduced himself at the Welfare Institute for the first time, he said, "My name is Bien Yen." Some children laughed and said, "What a strange name, your parents must hate you." Bien Yen looked around nervously. Later, he told me, "Xia, I envy you so much. Your parents died saving others. My parents always beat me. Sometimes when they didn't want to hit me anymore, my mom would lock me in the closet for a long time and only let me out when she remembered. But I'm so afraid of the dark. I told her I was scared so many times. But she didn't believe me." Xia, I wish so much that my parents loved me. What did I say then? I took hold of Bien Yan's wrist. I said, "Don't be afraid, I won't let anyone bully you again." 9. I raised my hand and knocked on the door of the storage room. When Bien Yan was locked in a dark, closed room, he would often become anxious, feel suffocated, and might even hurt himself. Just as I was about to lean in and listen for any movement inside, my sleeve was suddenly tugged. He Tingzhou beside me frowned, looking a bit unwell. "Xia, I don't feel well." I bent down and asked, "What's wrong?" He clutched his stomach. "My stomach hurts. If something really happened to He Tingzhou, I wouldn't be able to handle it alone." I quickly pushed him to the infirmary. Rushing in, I shouted, "Teacher, a student isn't feeling well." The school nurse, wearing a white coat, came out from the inner room. When he saw He Tingzhou, he exclaimed, "Ah, if it isn't classmate He." I was taken aback, thinking that He Tingzhou must be a frequent visitor to the infirmary. "What's the matter today?" The nurse washed his hands, took the wheelchair from me, and pushed He Tingzhou into the inner room. He glanced at me and nodded. "You're his classmate. Wait here." I agreed and sat on the sickbed in the outer room. The inner and outer rooms were separated by a curtain. Although I couldn't see what was happening, I could faintly hear some of the conversation. After a while, the nurse's voice came out, "There's nothing serious. Have you been eating regularly these days? It's not a big deal, just remember to go for a medical check-up at the hospital regularly. Call me if you feel uncomfortable." Soon, the nurse pushed He Tingzhou back out to me. He kept his head down, and I couldn't see his expression clearly. I couldn't help but wonder, was there really something wrong with He Tingzhou's health? If he wasn't actually feeling unwell, why did he drag me to the infirmary? My mind was filled with these thoughts, and I didn't speak for a while. He Tingzhou was the first to break the silence. He coughed twice and looked up at me. "Xia, I have something I want to give you." "What is it?" 10. It was PE class at the moment. Most of the students were freely moving around on the playground. He Tingzhou and I had sneaked out. I originally wanted to get the academic genius to give me some extra lessons and explain a couple more problems, but instead, we ran into Tang Yao and her group. Our plan was disrupted. I turned to him and asked, "A gift for me?" He Tingzhou nodded slightly. "It's in the classroom." I thought that since I often brought him small cookies in the morning, he was reciprocating with some corresponding small items, but it wasn't that. He took out a glass bottle from his desk drawer. Inside were the paper cranes he had been folding. They were in various colors, probably several hundred of them. I was stunned and, at a loss for words, asked an inappropriate question. "He Tingzhou, how did you develop such a strange hobby?" As soon as the words came out, I realized how impolite I was being. What kind of behavior was this? Instead of immediately accepting the gift and saying thank you, I was blabbering nonsense. My face instantly turned red, and I waved my hands in a panic. "No, that's not what I meant." But He Tingzhou wasn't angry. He looked at me seriously and smiled. "Xia, you were the one who gave me my first paper crane." His expression was completely serious, not at all like he was joking. 10 years ago. He opened the jar, took one out, and placed it in my hand. "Do you remember? 10 years ago, it turned out that during the year when I visited the wealthy merchant with the caregivers from the Welfare Institute, I really had met He Tingzhou." My memories came flooding back all at once. At that time, I would occasionally see a little boy sitting alone in a wheelchair. His house wasn't far from the merchant's. It had a beautiful garden, and he would often be there, with a thin blanket over his legs. quietly gazing outside. There were many disabled children in the welfare institute, and we were used to seeing them. But his eyes looked exceptionally lonely and sad. The last time we were leaving, I took out a paper crane from my school bag. I had folded it out of the colorful paper on the cabinet at the merchant's house when I was bored. I ran over, reached my hand through the railing outside the garden, and handed it to him. Here. It's for you. He didn't say anything, just looked at me. That Grandpa said. I pointed to the merchant's house beside us. Paper cranes can carry people up to the sky. I'm giving you one so you can fly out of this garden and take a look. 11. I held that small piece of folded paper. So the paper crane from 10 years ago had, after many twists and turns, returned to my hands. I've been waiting for you to come back, He Tingzhou said softly. He gently tapped on the glass jar. Later, I started folding paper cranes, since you used to come on weekends. I would fold one every weekend, like a pitiful little child making a wish, but you never showed up again. I sat down. For a moment, I even felt guilty. I didn't know that such a small action of mine could have had such a big impact on He Tingzhou. He looked up at the sky outside the window, as if recalling the past. At that time, I had my leg injured in an accident, and my whole world turned dark. My family was wealthy, and I had the best doctors treating me. My parents still seemed to love me. But I knew that I would never be the same as others again. When you came, my mother had just gotten pregnant. She smiled and asked me, Tingzhou, you're going to have a little brother. Aren't you happy? I wasn't happy. I felt abandoned, but I couldn't say it. If I did, everyone would think I was being willful and selfish. So, Qixia, when you said the paper crane could take me away, I really wanted to leave with you. At this moment, He Tingzhou truly showed his vulnerable and sensitive side for the first time, afraid of being abandoned. Afraid of being treated as an outsider. I took a deep breath and finally said, He Tingzhou, no one will abandon you this time. He tilted his head, and a charming smile appeared on his lips. Really, even if Bian Yan comes, you'll still choose me. I was a bit confused. Why compare yourself to that guy? I have nothing to do with him. Yes, Qixia, he doesn't deserve it. He Tingzhou reached out and held my fingers. I sometimes wonder why, since He Tingzhou knew me so long ago, he never mentioned it to me in our past life. Back then, we were like two parallel lines, moving straight in one direction without any intersection. A long time later, when we were already in college, he took over the business of an important department in his father's company, and I was preparing to pursue a master's degree. On weekends, we went on dates to coffee shops. I was poring over the formulas in my professional textbooks while he leaned over and insisted on playing with my hair. Suddenly, I thought of something. He Tingzhou, if I hadn't sat next to you in high school, wouldn't we have gone our separate ways? He shook his head and said cockily, I would have written you love letters. When you saw them, you'd definitely be moved to tears by our fate. I gave him a light tap on the head. Humph. I just took his words as a casual joke. After all, in my past life, I never saw any love letters. 12. I closed the lid of the paper crane jar and put it in my backpack. After a while, the bell rang, signaling the end of the PE class. Students gradually returned to the classroom, including Tang Yao and her friends. They were chatting and laughing, looking extremely happy. There were still 2 self-study periods in the afternoon before school ended. During these 2 periods, many students would skip class and go home early, without a teacher's supervision. About 1/3 of the classroom would usually be empty, and this time, Bian Yan was also absent. He still hadn't shown up by the next morning. It was the 2nd period. And the homeroom teacher quickly noticed that some students were missing when she looked at the classroom. Did Bian Yan ask for leave? She called the class monitor out. The monitor shook his head, clearly not knowing anything about it. Due to Bian Yan's special circumstances, there were no parents to contact, and the only option was to call the welfare institute if they needed to reach his guardian. Although it was troublesome, it seemed to be the only way for now. The scene of seeing Tang Yao and the others in front of the storage room the previous day flashed through my mind. I never expected them to go so far as to lock Bian Yan in the storage room for so long. If this matter was delayed any further, it would become very serious. Teacher, I seemed to hear some noises near the storage room yesterday. I raised my hand and stood up. The storage room. The homeroom teacher was taken aback, then quickly understood. She randomly pointed at several students. Monitor, Qixia, you all come with me. After thinking for a moment, she pointed at Tang Yao. You come too. When the security guard arrived with the key, the storage room was immediately opened. It was pitch dark inside, and the air smelled like rusty iron sheets, damp and musty. There were all kinds of unused sports equipment scattered on the floor, and we had to be careful not to trip with every step. The security guard fumbled with the wall outside the corridor for a long time before finally finding the light switch. The moment the lights came on, it was so blinding that it almost made us close our eyes. "Isn't that Bien Yen?" someone suddenly exclaimed. "My God, what happened to him? Someone call 120. Bien Yen was curled up inside a cabinet in the corner, hugging his body tightly with his arms. Beside his feet was a piece of iron that had fallen off some equipment. His arms were covered with deep blood marks from being scratched by the iron piece. He slowly raised his head, revealing his wet eyes, but there was no light in his gaze. He murmured softly, "Dad, Mom, shush ya, I'm scared." 13, shush ya. Bien Yen saw me at the first glance. He stood up shakily, walked through the crowd, and hugged me tightly. "Chi Xia, I knew you'd come. I knew you'd come for me." His voice was filled with grievance, confusion, and cautious dependence. "You said you'd never leave me." He stretched out his arms, showing those deep and shallow wounds. "It hurts, but I told myself that you wouldn't abandon me." It would take a while for the ambulance to arrive. Seeing the student in this state, the homeroom teacher's previous anxiety turned into anger. "Who did this prank? If no one says anything, we'll check the surveillance." This kind of atmosphere in the class has been around for a long time, and it's time to put a stop to it. After saying that, she stormed out of the storage room, asking the security guard to take her to the surveillance room and telling the monitor to notify her when the doctor arrived. "Damn, so pathetic. You're good at snitching, aren't you, little Miss Innocent?" Tang Yao crossed her arms, leaned against the wall, and looked at us coldly. I pushed Bien Yen away and faced her. "What do you mean? Don't you understand what I mean? Didn't you just tattle to the homeroom teacher in class? Trying to get back at me, huh? If I really get punished, none of you will get away with it." Humph. I didn't want to interfere when she bullied Bien Yen some time ago, but today, she came here to cause trouble again. Why should I put up with this? I was about to go over and argue with her when Bien Yen suddenly stepped in front of me. "Tang Yao, it was you who locked me in the storage room. It's not fair for you to say such things about Chi Xia," Bien Yen said, "in both this life and my past life." This was the first time he stood up to Tang Yao for me. Tang Yao was as surprised as I was. After a moment of shock, she clearly showed her dissatisfaction. She raised her hand and slapped Bien Yen across the face. "What's wrong with what I said about Chi Xia? I can say whatever I want about her. What are you babbling on about here? Bien Yen, you're so funny. Do you like her or something?" Seeing the situation getting out of control, the class monitor jumped in to mediate. "Come on. We're all classmates. Let's talk this out. Tang Yao, don't be impulsive. Bien Yen, just apologize and it'll be over." Unfortunately, our class monitor was known for being a pushover. His feeble words were not enough to calm the chaos. Tang Yao grabbed Bien Yen by the collar and said each word mockingly. "Little orphan, I advise you to give up. Your Shasha doesn't want you anymore. She's already with that cripple He Tingzhou in the class. Even though he's disabled, his family is rich, and he's good at studying. What do you have, besides your looks? Ask yourself, what does a stinky orphan like you, with no parents, have?" 14. Shut up. Bien Yan's face instantly turned extremely pale. He looked panicked but didn't dare to look at me. He just held on to Tang Yao tightly and kept repeating. "Shut up. I told you to shut up." "I won't." "Did you know, they skipped PE class together yesterday afternoon and sneaked into the classroom? Who knows what they were doing? Someone even saw them holding hands after school." Your Shashia was so happy. Bien Yen suddenly became extremely agitated, perhaps because he had been in that enclosed and dark environment for too long. The feeling of anxiety and unease still hadn't left him. He suddenly grabbed Tang Yao by the neck and growled. "I told you to stop talking, don't you understand?" At this moment, he didn't look like the vulnerable and pitiful student who was bullied in high school. Instead, he was more like the decisive and ruthless leader he would become in the business world later. I immediately had a bad feeling and rushed up to try to pull Bien Yan's arm, but I was a step too late. He pushed Tang Yao against the railing, his eyes red and his voice trembling. "You're the one who's despicable. Who gave you the right to spread rumors?" Tang Yao was also scared at this point, but she was used to being willful and arrogant, so she didn't back down. "What do you mean by rumors? It's the truth. Maybe they've even kissed already." She was shouting and struggling as she spoke, but before she could finish, Bien Yen grabbed her neck and exerted a sudden, strong force. The two of them were grappling when, suddenly, Bien Yen flipped over and dragged Tang Yao over the railing. The monitor and I rushed to the railing. They fell from the 6th floor corridor, entangled with each other. Panicked screams filled the air. "Someone's committing suicide. People are dead." I ran downstairs frantically, getting closer and closer, until it felt like the blood under Bien Yen was spreading to my feet. The ambulance finally arrived, but it was too late. When the medical staff got out of the ambulance, they seemed a bit confused. I thought it was about claustrophobia. What's going on now? Make way, make way. Why are there two people? I slowly stepped back as the crowd gradually engulfed me. Someone took my hand. It was warm. Qi Xia, are you okay? I turned around. It was He Tingzhou. He looked at me quietly. My throat tightened. It took a long time before I could finally say, He Tingzhou, they're both dead, he said, but I'll be with you from now on, always. The sky was very blue that day. I saw myself reflected in He Tingzhou's eyes. Looking a bit lost and bewildered, later, at certain moments, I would occasionally think about Bien Yen. What kind of mood was he in when he pushed Tang Yao downstairs? Was it anger, helplessness, or fear? But no matter what the truth was, my life was truly no longer related to him. I loved the person who wholeheartedly cared only for me. Side story, Bien Yen. 1. I couldn't get in touch with Qi Xia. She didn't reply to my WeChat messages, and her phone was unreachable. This was the first time this had happened. For a moment, I wondered if she was still angry about me bringing Tang Yao to the entrepreneurship conference, but then I thought Qi Xia was being unreasonable. She should know that Tang Yao didn't have much ability and needed some impressive resumes to enhance her image, until one day, after a meeting, I received a phone call. I felt inexplicably irritable the whole day. Tang Yao was making coffee next to me, and I casually put the call on speaker. Mr. Bien, hello, this is the police station. A few days ago, we handled a traffic accident at the expressway exit in the provincial capital. A young woman died. I wonder if you know her. My temples were throbbing. Tang Yao placed the coffee beside me. That damned policeman kept talking. Since she has no parents or relatives, we found that you were the friend she contacted the most. Would you be available to come and take care of Qi Xia's final arrangements? I angrily threw my phone away. Nonsense, what are you talking about? The call ended with a beeping sound. Liars. Tang Yao crossed her arms, leaned against the wall, and looked at me coldly. Haven't you seen the news? A few days ago, on the expressway we took to the conference, a bus lost control and killed a woman. I found Tang Yao so detestable for the first time and interrupted her sharply. Get out. She looked at me in disbelief. What did you say? I repeated. Get out of here. Fine, you said it yourself. Don't beg me to come back. Bien Yen. 2. Qi Xia couldn't be dead. A long time ago, in the orphanage, she told me she would never leave me. So when I went to the police station and saw her body, I still couldn't believe it. I clenched my fists tightly. I realized that I was actually afraid of the truth, so afraid that I was shaking. Sign here. The policeman's voice was cold and matter of fact. My voice was hoarse. Actually, I wanted to ask if she had said anything before she died. But I knew there wouldn't be anything, especially nothing about me. After that, I found that my emotions were becoming more and more unstable. I became irritable and prone to anger, often falling into bouts of emptiness and confusion. I went back to the orphanage and donated a large sum of money. The director treated me like an important person. Mr. Bien, our caregivers often tell the children about you. They all say they want to follow your example. I looked at these children. They were as small and pitiful as I once was, but I didn't feel any closeness. Instead, I felt a bit of disgust. I said, I want to take a walk around the orphanage by myself. The director didn't suspect anything and thought I was just nostalgic for my childhood. I walked alone and came to the dormitory area. The children had been taken away by the caregivers for activities, and it was empty now. I opened the door and immediately saw the room where Qi Xia used to live, of course. Her things were no longer there, but I still felt like I could see traces of her presence, like that small single bed, the worn-out bedside table, and the wooden wardrobe. I closed my eyes and recalled the scenes from when I was a child, excitedly coming here to find her every night. Vaguely, it seemed like she was still here, sitting by the bed waiting for me. My Xia. I opened the wardrobe and hid inside. Would my Xia come to find me? 3. It was 2 days later when my assistant finally found me. He couldn't get in touch with me, and when my phone wasn't working, he had no choice but to drive to the orphanage. The director thought I had left without saying goodbye, but when they checked the surveillance, they found that I was actually hiding in a child's wardrobe. Everyone was shocked. My unstable mental condition could no longer be hidden. The company hired a renowned psychiatrist for me. She was an expert on the verge of retirement, with a gentle and pleasant voice, gradually guiding me to talk about the past. So, you were the one who left Qi Xia on the highway, right? Yes. I closed my eyes, feeling as if my head was being struck by a sledgehammer. Tang Yao even reminded me that there were no cameras in that area, so no one would see it. My heart was flooded with remorse and pain, like waves crashing. I longed to go back in time and change everything. However, the doctor still didn't show any sign of blaming me. She simply asked, "Have you ever thought about why you're so tolerant of Tang Yao? She bullied you, humiliated you, and looked down on you. Do you really like her?" I shook my head. I couldn't answer this question. After a long while, I said, "I just hoped she would be nicer to me. Maybe you're just projecting your feelings for others onto her." The doctor poured me a glass of warm water. "The lack of parental love during your childhood made you feel that there was a missing piece in your life. Perhaps Tang Ya's appearance just reminded you of the darkest period of your life. She made your life so miserable. But sometimes she also gave you a little bit of sweetness, this tiny bit of kindness, which would be insignificant to an ordinary person, was magnified infinitely against the backdrop of the pain she inflicted. But you forgot about the girl who always stayed by your side, helped you grow, and would never dream of hurting you. Bien Yen, you need to learn to love. Don't let yourself be manipulated by PUA." When I got back to the villa, I found that Tang Yao had actually returned. She was sitting on the sofa nonchalantly when she saw me enter. She stood up immediately and threw her arms around my neck. "Bien Yen, you're back. I heard you went to the hospital. Something was missing in the villa." I pushed her away. "Where are Qixia's things?" I snapped. She didn't care. What's the point of keeping things belonging to a dead person? It's so unlucky. I was almost driven mad with anger. Those were my only remaining memories of Qixia, and she had thrown them away. Trembling, I suddenly slapped Tang Yao across the face. She stared at me with wide eyes. Then, slowly, the corners of her lips turned up in a strange smile. "Bien Yen, you're disgusting. Do you know what I found in your desk today? Love letters that He Tingzhou wrote to Qixia in high school. It turns out they knew each other since primary school. If it weren't for you, Qixia might have been with He Tingzhou a long time ago. It was you withheld He Tingzhou's love letters, making him think that Qixia didn't remember him or like him at all. If they had been together, would Qixia still be dead?" Tang Yao always knew exactly how to hit me where it hurt. Yes, in the final analysis, I was the one who caused Qixia's death. Tang Yao took slow steps towards me. Her hand gently caressed my face and then stopped at my throat, lightly gripping it. "Actually, Qixia and I could be considered childhood sweethearts. Your pure and innocent Xiaxia should go to heaven," she said, standing on tiptoe as if she were going to kiss me. "Yes. Someone as vicious, calculating, and greedy as her, we should die together." I pulled open the drawer of the desk and took out a pistol. At a banquet once, a senior executive from a rival company tried to insult Qixia. I picked up a wine bottle and smashed it over his head, but I still couldn't rest easy, so I bought a gun. In case something like that ever happened again, I wanted to make sure Qixia wouldn't be harmed. "Tang Yao, a despicable and cruel woman like you will never be loved by anyone." I pressed the gun against her chest and pulled the trigger. She looked at me in disbelief. Blood spattered all over me. The last bullet, I saved it for myself. Story 2. Returning to my high school days, I accidentally bumped into the arms of the man who would one day become my husband. At that time, still the carefree playboy, he teased, "I like women who are busty, slim-waisted, and long-legged. A sprout like you doesn't stand a chance." I nodded in understanding and replied, "You're blocking my way to find the top student." Later, rumors spread through the school that I was dating the academic star. He broke down, cornered me, and threatened, "Qin Wan, if you dare start dating early, I'll break your legs." By the time we reached university, the academic star confessed his feelings to me. The one who preferred busty and slim-waisted women ended up carrying me off, pinning me down, and coaxingly asked, "Sweetheart, want to try what it's like with a 20-year-old? I had crashed into a warm chest, and reflexively clutched at the corner of his clothing. In an instant, countless memories flooded my mind. Before I could steady myself, a teasing voice came from above. "Qin Wan, have you also learned to throw yourself into my arms?" I looked up, and was met with an extraordinarily handsome face. His slightly squinted, peach blossom eyes were filled with a playful charm. I had seen his face thousands of times, yet my heart still skipped a beat. His name was Lu Yi, my husband, or rather, my husband from a past life. Not letting go. "You like me that much?" Pity. His speech paused, giving me a half-smiling, half-serious glance. "I like women who are busty, slim-waisted, and long-legged. You, my sprout, stand no chance." I realized then that I was never his type, even in our past life. After over a year of marriage, he never touched me. I let go, furrowed my brow, and took a few steps back. "You're blocking my way to find the academic star." I tried to move past him, but he grabbed my backpack. "School's over. Why not come home with me instead of looking for the academic star?" I yanked my backpack back, giving him a cool glance. "Mind your own business, Chin-Wan. Gotten a bit too bold, have you? If it weren't for the old man's orders, this young master wouldn't bother with you." After saying that, regardless of my struggles, he wrapped one arm around me and forcefully carried me away and stuffed me into his car, my face flushed with anger. I pushed him away. "Stay away from me." His eyes crinkled slightly, deliberately leaning in a bit closer. "What's wrong today? You're as temperamental as a pufferfish." Ignoring him, he chuckled lightly and hooked my chin with his finger. "Angry already? Don't touch me." I slapped his hand away and turned my face towards the car window. Recalling images of him with other flirtatious women from a past life, the voluptuous women looked at me with mocking eyes. "Could your bland figure ever excite Mr. Liu?" Then she casually pulled down her neckline, revealing ambiguous love bites. "Have you ever seen his wild side in bed?" Suddenly, I felt nauseous. Our marriage began as a drunken joke about a union between the Liu and Qi families when we were both too young, our parents still alive. After my parents passed away unexpectedly, I was taken in by the Liu family. Unexpectedly, Liu's father, a man who greatly valued promises, forced Liu Yi to marry me after we graduated from university. Perhaps due to pressure, Liu Yi did not refuse, and I wasn't opposed to the marriage either. After all, being someone who values looks, Liu Yi was undeniably handsome, even without love. Just seeing him was a pleasure. I thought I could overlook his infidelity, but reality proved otherwise. Deep down, I clearly realized I liked him, even though I was aware that he wasn't a good person, an acknowledgement I found difficult to accept. So, I immediately asked Liu Yi for a divorce and moved out of his house. As I drove, I found myself aimlessly unsure of where to go next. Then, after a head-on collision with a truck, I opened my eyes to find myself back in my high school days, facing Liu Yi teasing me about being skinny, hitting a sore spot once again. Perhaps because I was a premature baby and often ill as a child, my development was slower than my peers. I always appeared younger than my age, even after being taken in by the Liu family 3 years ago and receiving special care. My physical development still lagged behind my peers. "Alright. It's all my fault. Have some milk to calm down," Liu Yi said, handing me a bottle of milk with a tone like he was talking to a child. I was so angry I wanted to smash the milk bottle on his head. Whether it was Liu Yi now or 6 years later, he was equally irritating. He kept talking and playing with a strand of my hair. When I couldn't take it anymore and kicked him towards the other side of the car, he suddenly asked the driver to pull over. The window rolled down, and I heard Liu Yi whistle towards the roadside. "Hey, goddess, need a ride?" Looking sideways, I saw Jiang Ruan, dressed in a black leather skirt and carrying a guitar case, the campus goddess of University A. Liu Yi had often visited University A to pursue her. Despite his poor academic performance, he claimed that the goddess should wait for him to get into University A. Jiang Ruan, unaware of my presence in the back seat, started to open the car door. Liu Yi pointed to the front seat. "Goddess, sit in the front. My little friend here is throwing a tantrum and won't let me near." Jiang Ruan looked over and nodded with a smile at me. Once she got into the car, all of Liu Yi's attention was drawn to her. With him endlessly praising her, he complimented her skirt, the small braid beside her ear, and everything about her that matched Liu Yi's aesthetic perfectly. Unfortunately, in a past life, Liu Yi couldn't decide on his own marriage, and his dream of marrying the goddess was shattered. Jiang Ruan had joined a band outside of school, where she was the guitarist. They were performing at a bar tonight, and she invited Liu Yi and me to watch. I excused myself, saying I needed to study at home. Liu Yi disagreed irrationally and dragged me straight into the bar saying, "All you know is studying. You become dumb from it." Facing Liu Yi, who was already 1.8 meters tall, I felt as powerless as a little chick. Other than calling him a tyrant, I had no choice. After sitting down, Jiang Ruan left first to prepare backstage. After a few romantic songs, it was Jiang Ruan's band's turn. Different from the earlier soft tunes, their music ignited the whole venue, and even I couldn't help but be captivated. Jiang Ruan, playing the guitar on stage, was effortlessly cool, making me admit that Liu Yi had great taste. She was someone even I liked. A hand waved in front of me. "Are your eyes glued to the stage because she's that beautiful?" "Yes, very cool," I replied, brushing Liu Yi's hand away and applauding enthusiastically for the performance. "Cooler than me." I rolled my eyes at him as a response to his narcissism. Liu Yi clicked his tongue and shook his head. "You've seen nothing yet. Let me show you what cool really is." As one performance ended, he stood up, walked to the stage, and after whispering something to the drummer, took his place, under the spotlight. He winked at me as if to say, "Watch this," with a mix of roguish charm and wildness. He easily thrilled the entire audience with his drumming. People in the crowd began to scream and take photos. "That guy on the drums is way too handsome." Even Jiang showed a look of admiration. As we were leaving, Lu Yi walked backwards in front of me, a smug look on his face. "How about that? I'm cooler than those professional musicians, right? With this face of mine, I'd be a top star in the entertainment industry." Lu Yi. Jiang ran out after him. Her voice still slightly breathless. Lu Yi stopped and turned, his peach blossom eyes smiling warmly at her. "What's up?" Jiang moved closer, seemed like she wanted to say something, but hesitated upon seeing me. "You guys talk. I'll head to the car first." I thoughtfully gave them some space. From the car, I watched the two of them under the dim streetlight, standing facing each other. Jiang tucked her slightly messy hair behind her ear, her cheeks tinged with shyness. She clenched her fist, as if mustering all her courage, and then on tiptoe, she kissed Lu Yi on the cheek. My pupils dilated, my heart felt as if it was being maliciously squeezed. Lu Yi suddenly looked over. Even though I knew he couldn't see me, I still guiltily averted my gaze like a thief. When I got back in the car, Lu Yi casually wiped his cheek. "You didn't see anything just now, did you?" "No." He seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and tousled my hair. "Why do I feel like you're still not happy? Are you still mad about my joke earlier, calling you Bean Sprout?" I moved his hand away, not wanting to deal with him. After getting home, I hastily ate dinner and then retreated to my room. Pulling out my workbook, I stared at the unfamiliar problems until my head throbbed. And finally, I just closed the book and went to bed. In my groggy mind, all sorts of jumbled memories threatened to explode my brain. Gradually, my entire body felt as if it was in a furnace, my bones aching from the heat. In a haze, I seemed to see Lu Yi's face, twisted and terrifying. He reached out to hug me, and I stared at his cheek, crying out in irritation. I disgustingly pushed his face away, but he kept coming closer, so I scratched wildly at his face. He restrained my hands and held me tightly, his voice both anxious and soothing by my ear. "Sweetheart, be good, okay? It won't hurt once we get to the hospital." When I awoke, I was lying in Lu Yi's arms, feeling sore and weak all over. He was behind me, holding my hand as he clipped my nails. I didn't move, just quietly watched his actions. When he finished with the last nail, I moved my head and looked up at him. His handsome face now bore several scratch marks. "Lu Yi, will you be my brother?" He placed his hand on my forehead. "Silly, haven't I always been your brother?" A sense of security instantly filled my hollow heart, as if I had grabbed a lifeline. Maybe I was wrong in a past life. Being relatives suits us better than lovers. With this realization, even Lu Yi seemed more agreeable to me. I guiltily pointed at the scratch marks on his face. "Did I do that?" He propped me up against the headboard and took a thermal lunchbox from the table. He scooped up a spoonful of rice porridge and brought it to my lips. "Who else would dare touch my face but you?" I gave a sheepish smile and apologized. I reached for the spoon to feed myself, but he moved it away. "Don't move around, you really are my ancestor now." The old man would have come through the phone to smack me for not taking good care of you if he knew. I don't know how he gets his information so quickly abroad. There must be a traitor in the family, daring to tattle on me. Listening to his complaints, I suddenly felt like laughing. It's great to have a chance to live again. This time, I will definitely find my happiness. After recovering from my illness, I threw myself into my studies. Besides that, I began to drink milk and eat nutritious meals every day, and I kept up with regular exercise. I believed that with my efforts, I would develop better than in my previous life. Lu Yi noticed that I had signed up for yoga at the gym and he signed up for basketball. Usually, at this time after school, he would have been playing games on his computer. I thought about it and advised him, "You don't need to exercise just to keep me company. I can manage on my own." He glanced at me sideways. "Who said I'm doing this for you? I just felt like playing basketball." I shrugged and ignored him. An hour later, when the yoga class ended, I was leaning on the wall as I walked out of the studio. As soon as I stepped out, a hand grabbed my arm, and Lu Yi's voice came from above. "What's wrong with your legs?" Trying hard not to cry, I said, "I have a cramp." He sighed and squatted in front of me. "Chi-wan, what would you do without me? Come on, I'll carry you back." "No need, I can walk slowly." Lu Yi reached out and swept me into his arms, disregarding my protest. "Hold tight, or don't blame me if you fall." "Lu Yi, put me down." He pretended to throw me, which frightened me into clinging tightly around his neck. His prank successful, He laughed heartily. Now you're behaving. Annoyed, I pinched his cheek hard. He then suddenly sped up. Lu Yi, slow down. I'm scared. Say something nice. Lu Yi is the kindest person in the world. Lu Yi is not nice at all. He's the most unreasonable person in the world. That was my first thought when he accused me of puppy love a week ago. After a pop quiz, looking at my disastrous test paper, I approached Yan Zhao from the next class, hoping to discuss my academic issues. After all, he was known for his excellent academic performance and was patient and good-tempered. His way of explaining topics was easier to understand than the teacher's, and I had consulted him before. This time, too, I approached him with ease. After flipping through my test paper, Yan Zhao gave me a strange look. Did you write this mess on purpose? You weren't this bad before. I smiled awkwardly. I hadn't touched high school problems for years. How could my level not drop? If I said I woke up and forgot everything I knew, would you believe me? He didn't comment and just started explaining the problems to me. This continued for a week, and as a thank you, I would bring him some tasty treats. Over time, rumors started flying. Rumors said I was feigning ignorance under the guise of seeking advice, but actually, I was pursuing Yan Zhao. Some even took misaligned photos and posted them on the school forum. What was merely me whispering a question in Yan Zhao's ear was shot as if I was kissing him. My leaning on his chair was captured as if I was resting on his shoulder. When I was unaware of these pictures on the forum, Lu Yi suddenly appeared, his face full of anger. He yanked me up from the seat next to Yan Zhao. Lu Yi, what are you doing? He gripped my hand painfully. His strength was great. I just couldn't break free. After being forcibly dragged out of the classroom, Lu Yi pulled me into an empty classroom. He trapped me between his arms and scolded me harshly. Qin Wan, how old are you to be thinking about dating so early? I'm not dating anyone early. If you're not dating, then why were you so close and affectionate with him? If it's a peck on the cheek now, will it be a kiss on the lips next? I told you I'm not. Stop falsely accusing me. I had never been yelled at like this in my life. He wouldn't believe what I said, and in my panic, tears uncontrollably started flowing. A knock on the door interrupted us, and the anxious voice of Yan Zhao came through. Qin Wan, are you in there? Lu Yi's temper flared even more. From now on, you are forbidden from seeing him. Do you hear? Who I see is none of your business. Whether I'm dating or not has nothing to do with you either. Stop meddling in my life. Say that again. Lu Yi punched the door frame. Terrified, I didn't dare to breathe, just staring with tears swirling in my eyes. Qin Wan, remember this, if I catch you dating, I'll break your legs. Just then, the other door to the classroom was pushed open, and Yan Zhao stormed in. Let her go. I'm disciplining my person. What's it to you? Get lost. I pushed him forcefully with both hands. I'm not your possession. You're the one who should get lost. Lu Yi sneered. Oh really? I can't manage you. Is that it? Then I'll call someone who can. 2 hours later, at the guidance office, Lu Yi's mother and Yan Zhao's parents were all present. The corridor outside the window was filled with curious classmates. I wished I could just disappear. In my last life, I never had to have my parents called in during my whole student career. This life, however, I was experiencing a social death. Lu Yi, the instigator, stood with his arms crossed against the wall, waiting to see me get disciplined. I glared at him fiercely and explained to everyone that Yan Zhao and I were not in a romantic relationship. Yan Zhao also insisted it was all rumors and demanded an investigation into who was spreading manipulated photos online. After a series of questions and investigations, the truth finally came to light. The student who took the photos admitted their mistake and apologized to me and Yan Zhao. Lu Yi grabbed the student by the collar, furious. Are you sick? Who gave you the right to take those pictures? Lu Yi, let go. Look at yourself. His mother scolded with a disgusted look. Apologized to Nguyen. Lu Yi approached me, his face showing some embarrassment. I'm sorry, I misjudged you. But how do you explain being so close physically as a boy and a girl? I was about to lose my temper when his mother slapped the back of his head. You flirt with girls all day like a butterfly and have the nerve to regulate Nguyen's normal interactions with classmates. Lu Yi, unwilling to back down, tried to argue but was cut off by his mother. Say another word and I'll cut off all your cards. Why would you cut my cards? I still need to buy her a dress. His voice was so low, almost a whisper. Thinking he was still arguing, his mother glared at him. She then turned to thank Yan Zhao and invited him to visit their home often. Lu Yi snorted disdainfully, his eyes rolling. After the drama, Lu Yi's mother hurried back to work. School was just about to be dismissed, and Lu Yi grabbed my arm, wanting to take me home. I sharply pulled away. Men and women should not touch each other. He took a deep breath, his knuckles ready to wrap my head, but he restrained himself. On the way back, Lu Yi opened the car door for me, but I ignored him and walked straight to the passenger side. At dinner time, he sat on the left side of the rectangular dining table, so I took the seat on the far right, as he stood up to move closer. I raised my hand to stop him. Men and women should not get too close. This upset Lu Yi so much that he lost his appetite and sullenly returned to his room. Before bedtime, there was a knock on my door. Opening it, I saw Lu Yi and was about to close the door on him, but he wedged his foot in and handed me a cup of hot milk, pleading, "Sweetheart, can you stop ignoring me, please?" Hearing him use the nickname that my parents used to call me, I froze. It brought back memories of when they were still alive. After they passed away, I went through a period of isolation. When I first moved into the Lu household, I was cautious and barely spoke. At night, I would hide under my covers and cry, the image of my parents leaving me haunting my every moment, often making me so upset that I would fall ill. Lu Yi somehow learned to use that nickname during my bouts of sickness, comforting me by coaxing me to take my medicine and get injections. Caring for me like a true older brother, remembering his past kindness, I silently took the milk cup from him. "This is an exception," I said. His eyes lit up, and he immediately promised, "I swear I'll always trust you unconditionally from now on." Knowing he had upset me, Lu Yi became especially attentive. The next day, to my surprise, he even woke up early, not only calling me to get up but also thoughtfully preparing my toothpaste. After I washed up, he mysteriously guided me to sit in front of the vanity mirror. "I'll do your hair today." Stunned, I almost jumped. "Are you out of your mind?" He clicked his tongue. "You don't trust me." I practiced a lot. It was strange to think of a man learning to style hair, but considering his flirtatious nature, it wasn't so surprising. It was probably another skill he picked up to charm girls. I expected him to tie a simple ponytail, but instead, he took out 2 braided bands adorned with small pearls and started braiding the hair by my ears. "How does it look? Pretty, right?" Staring at the mirror, I gave him a thumbs up. True to his form, he really put in the effort to charm girls. No wonder, despite his flirty ways, he was still popular among the ladies. If he were a bit more faithful, he could have been hailed as a living legend. On the weekend, Yan Zhao came to the Lu house to see me. Seeing him, Lu Ye's face darkened. "For someone touted as a scholar, you should understand basic pleasantries, right?" Yan Zhao pushed up his glasses and said calmly, "Lu, you might not be aware, but your mother hired me to tutor Qinwan until the college entrance exams." Lu Yi clearly didn't believe him, but before he could react, Mother Lu came downstairs. Seeing Yan Zhao, she warmly invited him to sit. "Mom, are we going bankrupt? Why hire such a mediocre tutor for Qinwan?" Mother Lu glanced disdainfully at him. "Yan is not like you, all about fun and games. He's already self-taught all the high school material. I knew this better than anyone, having seen it in my past life." While all the other students were buried in their books, Yan Zhao was already relaxing and studying college-level material. I once asked why he didn't skip grades and take the college entrance exam early. He said he wanted to experience high school life. "I don't like this tutor, get another one," Lu Yi grumbled. Mother Lu elegantly sipped her coffee. "It's not for you. As long as Nuan Nuan likes him, that's enough. If you don't want to study, go out and play with your friends. Don't stay home and disturb Nuan Nuan's studies." "Mom, am I really your son?" I've been wanting to ask the same question. What exactly about you resembles me or your dad? Seeing Lu Yi at a loss for words, I smirked secretly. After greeting Lu Yi's mother, I called Yan Zhao to the upstairs study. Not long after we closed the door, Lu Yi arrived, seemingly on a whim, saying he also wanted to join us in studying. Yan Zhao and I exchanged glances, thinking it was just a momentary interest of his and didn't take it seriously. After forcefully inserting himself between Yan Zhao and me, Lu Yi then established a study method. If I had questions I didn't understand, I should let Yan Zhao explain to him first. Once he understood, he would explain it to me, he claimed. This way, the grasp of knowledge is more solid. I sighed heavily and laid my head on the desk. "Lu Yi, by the time you understand something enough to explain it to me, the day might be over. Who are you looking down on? I'm not stupid, I just don't want to study." In fact, Lu Yi proved his point quickly, understanding concepts almost immediately. He was exactly that type of person. Watching Lu Yi explain things to me, I felt like the world had turned upside down. Suddenly, he tapped my head with his pen. "Are you zoning out while I'm explaining this to you?" Suddenly, being tutored by someone who usually underperformed in class was a surreal experience. I looked at Yan Zhao, feeling a mix of amusement and disbelief, and he just smiled knowingly. "What are you looking at? Focus on the problem," said Lu Yi, blocking my view as he leaned on the desk. A month passed, and Lu Yi was still around. His friends no longer called him out to hang out. He was determined to stay home and tutor me. His friends were shocked. Time flew, and before we knew it, it was time for the college entrance exams. Lu Ye's improvement was nothing short of miraculous. It was hard to believe that in my previous life, he had to rely on his family's donations and a sports recommendation to get into University A. Soon after the exams, it was my 18th birthday. The Lu family organized a simple and warm birthday party for me, inviting close friends. Everything was similar to my previous life, except this time Yan Zhao was also there. After the dinner, as I saw my friends out, Yan Zhao, the last to leave, handed me a small gift box, a birthday present. I hope you like it. I accepted it with surprise. I thought those books you gave me were my present. Setting a low expectation then giving the real gift adds to the surprise. Doesn't it? He replied. I couldn't help but laugh. Indeed, having him around was the biggest surprise of all. He was the unexpected that I had anticipated. Open it and see. If you don't like it, I can get you another. I was curious about what kind of gift a top student would give. Upon opening the box, I almost laughed out loud. Do you think it's cheesy? I shook my head with a smile. No, I love it. After all, who wouldn't like gold? Yan Zhao also smiled. There are two ways gold is formed, from the death of massive stars in the universe or from the collision of neutron stars. These intertwining neutron stars, staring at each other beyond time, explode at the moment of their final touch, sending ripples through the universe and scattering gold across the vast cosmos. The explosion of these neutron stars occurs about once every 100,000 years, making gold a romantic symbol of the galaxy. I held the gold rabbit pendant in my palm. Is this the romance of a science student? No, if it were anyone else, I'd simply say gold retains its value, he replied, the atmosphere becoming subtly charged. Nuanyuan, let's both apply to University B, he suggested, holding the necklace. I thought of Lu Yi for a moment, then shook my head to clear him from my thoughts, and finally said, okay. Returning to my room, I bumped into Lu Yi. You're happy with his gift, but when I give you a gift, you don't even give it a glance. Who really matters more to you? I felt a twinge of guilt remembering how he had mysteriously wanted to show me the gift he prepared that morning, which I had declined. I had already known what he was going to give me, a room full of princess dresses. I remember the first time he took me to see them in my past life. I was completely dumbfounded. Lu Yi, are you planning to start a wholesale clothing business? I asked. He looked a bit disappointed. You don't like it? I'm 18, not 8. I'm past the age of dreaming like that, I told him. So in this life, when he suggested once again that I check out the gift, I declined and said we'd go another day. Qin Wan, do you like him? His sudden question snapped me back to reality. No. In Lu Ye's eyes was a depth I couldn't fathom. If you say no, then I believe you. He handed me a black box. Happy birthday, 18-year-old Qin Wan. As he walked away, I opened the box. Inside was a key and an address, driven by curiosity. I decided to check it out. Half an hour later, I arrived at the destination. As I opened the door to the apartment, my mom's voice greeted me. My dear baby is home. Tears instantly fell as I entered the room. Everything was so familiar, just like the home in my memories. Two adorable life-sized robots approached me. My dad's familiar voice echoed. My baby is 18 already. Why the tears? I burst out laughing, my eyes blurry with tears as I followed them to the dining room. The room was filled with balloons and flowers, and photos of me from over the years. On the table was an unlit birthday cake. A projection on the wall played videos of my childhood birthdays up until I was 8. In the video, my parents sang happy birthday, and as I closed my eyes to make a wish, my dad playfully smeared cake on my nose. I screamed and smeared it back, laughing heartily. What's your wish? My mom asked, naively. I had said, I want to be mommy and daddy's little princess forever. With an endless supply of princess dresses, my heart skipped a beat as those blurry memories became clear. I had forgotten I ever made such a wish. Reflecting on the past, it seemed like every birthday wish came true, except for this year's. Thinking back to when I was 18 in my past life, and Lu Yi gave me a room full of princess dresses, my nose tingled. So that was why he had given me so many dresses. Only now, in this life, did I understand his intentions, and it made my heart ache. The video continued, showing animated characters filling in for the birthdays they hadn't spent with me. When it reached my 18th birthday, the animated character of my dad told me to look for a gift in the room. I followed a path laid with petals to the balcony and pushed open the door leading to the next room. A room full of princess dresses greeted my eyes. For a moment, it felt like I was back in my past life. Only in that past life, Lu Yi hadn't let me open the door to the next room. I had misunderstood his intentions, even felt he was being perfunctory, overwhelmed with guilt. I wanted to see Lu Yi immediately, to tell him how much I loved this gift, truly loved it, but when I got home, I found out Lu Yi wasn't there. I called him, and Jiang Ruan answered. Lu Yi is drunk, come pick him up, she said. I hurried to the bar where Jiang Ruan was, and found Lu Yi completely inebriated. As I approached and tugged at him a few times, Lu Yi, let's go home. He looked at me with bleary eyes and suddenly wrapped his arms around my waist. This gesture was far too intimate. I felt a twitch in my eyelid. Glancing at Jiang Ruan beside me, I quickly pushed Lu Yi's arm away from my waist, worried she might misunderstand. Lu Yi, with his eyes reddened, looked at me and protested. Can't I even hug you? What about when you were sick and snuggled into my arms? I felt overwhelmed and quickly covered his mouth with my hand. Fearing he might say something more suggestive, I explained to Jiang Ruan, don't listen to his nonsense. Jiang Ruan appeared indifferent. Oh, I've known about this for a long time, you knew already. I wasn't sure whether to be surprised by her calmness or by the fact that Lu Yi told her everything. His brain might not be quite right. I suggest you have it checked, she commented. I was about to retort to her personal attack when she added. He said he liked me and wanted to pursue me. But every time it ends up with me initiating. If he's not asking me to teach him how to braid hair, he's asking for help picking out dresses. I proposed we date, and he wasn't happy, saying he can't start dating early and corrupt me. Is he joking with me? Her words once again turned my understanding on its head. Wasn't Lu Yi supposed to like Jiang Ruan? I had even thought they were already together. Finally managing to get Lu Yi back into the car after much effort, he kept ranting. Qin Wan is a heartless ingrate. Considering he was drunk, I let it slide, trying to get him to sit properly. He shoved my hand away. Go find your top student. Don't bother with me. You only have eyes for him anyway. I genuinely started ignoring him, but then he looked at me with teary eyes, playing the victim. Qin Wan, you're truly ruthless, really leaving me behind. Have I not been good enough to you? I worry you'll freeze when it's cold, and suffocate when it's hot. When you felt insecure and sick, I held you all night long, my arms and legs numb, wishing I could take your illness. Anything you glanced at, I hurriedly brought to you, fearing you'd lose interest if I was too slow. Your casual wish for a princess dress, I took seriously like a fool, carefully selecting and saving up for years to fill a room, and you didn't even look at them. Now that you don't need me anymore, you want to run off with another man. Don't think I didn't hear about you planning to elope with him to University B and leave Jiangqing. You're heartless. Why cover my mouth? Afraid of me saying what you're doing? I insist on telling. Looking at the driver in the front seat, I felt so embarrassed, my toes curling, as if I really was the villain. After much trouble, I managed to get him back to the Lu residence and into his room, but then he started making a scene again. He sat on the balcony railing, his eyes reddening. If you dare go with him, I'll jump from here. I won't live. I took a deep breath, pressing my temples. Lu Yi, what are you doing? If you don't want to become a laughingstock tomorrow, you better come down now. You call me unreasonable. A laughingstock? I'm already the biggest joke. For years I guarded against him like a thief, yet you still flirt with him. You found me annoying for a long time, haven't you? Interrupting your romantic talks. Fine, I'll die right now and let you be together. Lu Yi, this is the second floor. You won't die from falling. I tried to pull him down from the railing, however, he shrugged off my hand and deliberately fell backward. Lu Yi. I was terrified and tried to pull him back. But his body weight pulled me down too. As we hit the ground, a pair of hands firmly held me in an embrace. Lu Yi landed on his back with a dull thud. Seeing blood trickle from the back of his head, I felt a chill run through me. Lu Yi. This dramatic episode ended with Lu Yi being hospitalized. After waking up, he seemed to remember the absurd things he had done, even when his parents scolded him, pointing fingers at him. He didn't talk back but silently took it all in. Appearing much more mature overnight, once they left, I sighed and looked at Lu Yi. How come I never noticed before how much trouble you could stir up? Is jumping off buildings fun? I asked. In response, he silently covered his face with the blanket, a gesture of sheer despair. I couldn't help but laugh, pulling down his blanket. The gift you prepared for me. I went to see it last night, and I loved it. Lu Yi, thank you for everything you've done. Do you really like it? Don't you think it's childish? I really like it, a lot. He didn't just fulfill a childhood wish of mine but also one from when I was 18. I had always hoped my parents could witness me growing up. Lu Yi made me feel as though they truly had a part in my growth, as if they never left. Do you like it more than the gift Yan Zhao gave you? Lu Yi looked at me intently, facing his gaze. My heart skipped a beat, those eyes were so compelling. Although he was just looking. It felt like a declaration of love. I looked away and nodded. So, are you still considering going to University B? He might not have wanted to hear the answer to that question. Half jokingly, I countered, if I go to University B, are you going to jump off a building again? He turned his face away, ignoring me. Fortunately, when it came time to submit university applications, he didn't make a fuss anymore. But to my utter surprise, I received 2 admission letters from University B. When I saw Louis's name on one of them, I was sure the mailman hadn't made a mistake. I confronted Louis with the letter. You applied to University B too, as you see. He smiled at me. Why, I thought you always wanted to go to University A. What do you think? Louis stepped closer, causing me to step back until I was against a wall with no way to escape. He rested one hand beside my ear against the wall, leaning in slightly, his warm breath on my face. Why do you think I did it? He whispered. Heat rushed to my face, and I turned to run. I don't know. He blocked my way with his other hand, trapping me completely between his arms. Isn't it obvious enough? I've made a fool of myself, practically dying for you, and you don't think I see you as just a sister, do you? Isn't that what it is? I'm not your type. I used to think my ideal type needed to have a big chest, a slim waist, and long legs, and that anyone who didn't fit these criteria wasn't suitable. But all those standards are for people I don't love. When I fell for you, all those standards shattered. Louis, I like you. Only you. My heart raced, more from disbelief than shock. Louis, go play this game with someone else. Don't joke with me, or we can't even be friends. I'm not joking. I'm serious, but I don't like you, and I'm afraid to like you, because of a past life. He casually dropped the bombshell. My eyes widened in shock. You remember too, as he nodded. All the bitterness in my heart surged forth. How can you even say you like me knowing you have memories from a past life? Does liking me mean constantly seeking the company of other women? Louis, you disgust me. Louis wrapped his arms around me from behind, stopping me from leaving. His voice was low and choked with emotion as he whispered in my ear, there was never anyone else. There has never been. The one I've loved from the beginning to the end has always been you. I've never touched anyone else. All those rumors are false. At first, I didn't understand that my feelings for you were of love. I thought my care and possessiveness were just because I saw you as a sister, but later, I realized it was different. So when the old man suggested we get married, I was truly happy, but soon I realized you didn't care about me. You weren't concerned about the scandals surrounding me, nor whether I came home or not. That's why I never dared to touch you. I was afraid you couldn't accept it. Louis mentioned again the woman who came to provoke me at the beginning. He had never touched her. It was she who dragged him in an attempt to climb the social ladder. He simply turned the tables and let her face her own music. Her plans thwarted and her reputation ruined. She came to me in a fit of rage, trying to drive a wedge between us. And I actually believed her. Without confirming with Louis, I asked for a divorce. You have no idea how my heart shattered when I heard over the phone that you wanted to divorce me. Nguyen, since we have a chance to start over, can you give me another chance? I didn't give Louis an answer because I was too scared to try again. In the following days, I kept avoiding Louis. This avoidance lasted until the beginning of the school term. At this university far from home, the only 2 people I knew were Louis and Yan Zhao, because I was avoiding Louis. I ended up interacting more with Yan Zhao, but Yan Zhao was also busy. Right from the start, he was a favorite of the professors and was often pulled away for tasks. Even on the rare occasions we managed to make plans, Louis would follow us. He was like a persistent shadow, impossible to shake off, giving me pitiful looks as if I were the one who had wronged him. One day, Yan Zhao suggested going to a movie, and I agreed. However, my interest waned when I saw the sci-fi film about outer space he had picked, which I knew was complex and hard to understand. But since Yan Zhao was interested, I didn't want to spoil his enjoyment. In the cinema, I was nearly dozing off and went to the restroom midway. Just as I left the restroom, I was pulled into a secluded corner and held tightly. I was so frightened that I struggled as my chin was lifted and I was kissed forcefully, with raw emotion and without finesse. Nguyen, you are mine, you clearly belong to me. I was shocked and angry, and worried about being discovered. I bit his lip hard, and he finally let me go. Louis, what are you doing? He held me, burying his head in my neck, his voice hoarse. I'm just jealous of him, insanely jealous. Nguyen, please have some sympathy for me. Let me hold you for a while. Louis held me until the movie ended. It wasn't until Yan Zhao called that I pushed Louis away. Let me go. Yan Zhao is looking for me. I had barely taken a few steps when Louis pulled me back, causing a sharp pain in my neck as he bit and sucked, leaving a conspicuous red mark. Louis, I covered my neck, my eyes red with anger. Nguyen, tell him to go back by himself. In October, it was Lu Ye's birthday. I was still hesitating whether to celebrate with him when he called first. A coughing sound came through the phone. Nguyen, I feel so awful. Are you coming to see if I'm okay? I arrived at his apartment 10 minutes later. This place was originally bought by Lu's father for us to live together. It was just that initially I wanted to avoid Lu Yi and went straight to live on campus. I rang the doorbell, but there was no response, so I called him, but no one answered, worried that something had happened to him. I used my key to open the door. What greeted my eyes was Lu Yi, bare-chested and wearing only casual pants. His slightly wet hair was still dripping water, and the droplets slid down his handsome face to his sexy collarbone and chest. I forced myself to look away. I rang the doorbell, but you didn't answer. I came in because I was afraid something had happened to you. Is Nguyen worried about me? I choked at his question. It seems you're not that sick. So I'm leaving. Don't go. Will you stay with me for my birthday? I don't want to be all alone. My heart softened, and I stayed. His birthday celebration was a candlelit dinner, all prepared by himself. The fruit wine he made was delicious, but it was quite strong. His black shirt was unbuttoned at the top, and his skin shimmered seductively under the candlelight. Nguyen, do you like what you see? Want to touch? Seeing me silent, he added, tell me your true feelings, and I'll let you touch. It looks good. I want to touch. He smiled like a mischievous spirit, guiding my hand under his collar to glide across his chest. Nguyen, you like me, don't you? His lips were close to my ear, whispering these enticing words. He looked into my eyes, his warm breath mingling with mine, both ambiguous and scorching. Want to kiss me? Say you like me. I didn't speak but responded by kissing his lips. The next moment, he took control. The sound of our kisses and soft moans amplified in the quiet night. During a brief pause for breath, Lu Yi murmured, naughty Nguyen. The next day, I woke up to screams. Opening my eyes, I saw the startled face of Lu's mother. Lu Yi, I'm going to break your legs. How could you seduce Nguyen into bed when she's so young? A few minutes later, in the living room, Lu Yi was kneeling shirtless. The ambiguous marks all over his body made me want to crawl into a hole. What did I do to him last night? Am I that fierce? I covered most of my face with a pillow. Listening to Lu's mother scold him, actually, I didn't feel violated. If anything, I was the one who took advantage of him. Glancing at the marks on his wrists, my toes curled on the floor, and fragmented memories came together. Under the dim light, I was straddling him, and Lu Yi, with a soul-capturing smile, stuffed his tie into my hand and coaxed, Nguyen, say you love me, and I'm all yours. You can do whatever you want. If you're afraid that loving me doesn't feel secure, tie me up. Lock me up, so I can only see you. Nguyen, say you love me. As if seduced by a devil, I uttered, I love you. He triumphantly buried his head in my neck and chuckled, naughty Nguyen, I love you too. Now it's reward time. My mind was full of mosaic images, and I regretted it so much that I bit the pillow. Lu's mother's voice brought me back. Nguyen, don't worry, Lu Yi will definitely take responsibility. Let's get engaged first, and then marry after graduation. How about that? I don't need him to take responsibility. Lu Yi became anxious. Then you have to take responsibility for me. My innocence has been tarnished by you, and I'm already traumatized. I can't even look at other women. You must take responsibility. Then why don't you try men? I muttered softly. Lu Yi, you're too much. After that incident, Lu Yi embarked on a year-long journey of acting like a resentful husband. He always made himself available for me to tease, and afterwards, he would demand a formal status from me. If he didn't get it, he would go around claiming that a heartless woman had deceived him both emotionally and physically. It was truly a tale that could make listeners sad and viewers cry. Sometimes, in his madness, he would buy all sorts of locks and give them to me. Lock me up. Will you love me then? I truly belong to you heart and soul. What do I need to do to make you believe that? I am a person who believes in frugality, since he bought them. It would be a waste not to use them. Once I actually locked him up, his madness subsided. Sweetheart, I knew you loved me, but such states never lasted long. After Yan Zhao returned from studying abroad, Lu Yi started his craziness again. Sweetheart, should I get a tattoo? I'll tattoo your name all over me, so everyone knows I'm yours. Is that okay? My eyelids twitched, and just the thought made my toes curl. I grabbed his hand and slipped a ring onto his ring finger. Mine. Lu Yi burst into tears. Damn, I finally have a status. I promise, from now on, there won't even be a female mosquito by my side except for you. The day Yan Zhao asked me out for dinner, Lu Yi showed up uninvited. He was extremely friendly towards Yan Zhao, but he kept fiddling with the ring on his finger throughout the conversation. After the meal, Yan Zhao gifted me a necklace made from a meteorite, Nuan Nuan. Every meteorite is like the ancient starlight, symbolizing the passage of time. It has witnessed the wandering of the universe and recorded millennia. I hope it can also witness our future together. Nuan Nuan, let's be together. Lu Yi shoved the necklace back into Yan Zhao's hands. Classmate Yan, why don't you stick with your cosmic stars? Nuan Nuan is mine. The next second, I was literally carried away by Lu Yi. Honey, would you like to try how a 20-year-old husband feels? It will definitely make you happy. That happiness